Everybody that's in the chat. I see Paul Connors, Ray Powell, RS, Mike Farwell, David Stewart. If there's anybody else, I think there may be a few people that are just hanging out in the wings. By all means, jump in the chat. And so this is open chat day. Whatever you guys want to talk about. If Steve Land shows up, I definitely want to thank him for his excellent explanation of using, at least starting out with on-camera flash and setting the ambient light and then using the flash as the fill. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to do some more of that. Maybe Saturday night we'll talk about it. And I've got one guest that's having some trouble getting in here. I don't know why. So, hey, Ted, good to see you too, buddy. Gustavo.
Hello,
Jeffrey,
guys.
continue to welcome everybody in. Mazman, good to see you, man.
Aperture grease in the morning.
Yeah. All right. Let me take care of Mr. Ronald here. Try to get him in. I don't know what the issue is. But let me take care of that. Take care of things here for a second.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Well, hello, everybody. Nice to see you on this Wednesday. Hope the weather is better where you are. Went shooting this morning and should have stayed home. Basically, no light whatsoever. Very cloudy. Not a good day to go. And rain for the next 3 to 4 days. Oh, Z9 present early. Well, for Christmas, you're going to have to make up a list of lenses that you want. Hello, Paul, John. Wow, everybody's getting in here. That's great. Rain in the UK. Yeah, not to poke fun at you, but I guess you guys typically get an awful lot of rain, typically anyway, right? More than we do. Yeah, today was just one of those days where the sun was trying so hard, but there was just enough clouds to just block it out. And wasn't a lot of activity. And then they are repairing the road that I talk about on my videos called the Causeway, that basically from the entrance to the park and brings you across the cuts between the marsh side and the pond side. And they're finally doing repairs, long overdue, and removing all the posts and guardrails, and it looks like they're going to retar the road one side at a time and then finally fix up some dangerous areas where people could have gotten hurt just walking around on the sidewalk. So that's all positive stuff. So unfortunately, all the racket, I'm sure, is scaring some of the birds away with all the heavy equipment and trucks and whatnot. But I am not going to complain about it because we've all been waiting for things to get fixed for so long.
All right. So I think we got it figured out, or I think Mr. Ron's got it figured out. Welcome, Mr. Ronald Pollard.
Hello, Ron.
Are you muted, Ron? I don't hear any audio.
I hear you.
Michael McDermott's in here. Leon Kirkbride.
I'll have to call Michael Mr. Fuji, I think.
So, Paul, you got to jump in. Static line, I suppose. Yesterday was Airborne Day. Man, Mazman, a 51.2 for $1,500. That is a great deal. All right. D-Moots Photography's in the house, too, while Ronald sorts out the audio. How you doing, Dave?
Not bad. How about you guys?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
Good.
Just living through the drought up here. No,
Telling
Ron,
Chuck
I don't know
I'll
what it
try to
is.
send
Not,
our rain to him. Try to push the rain from down here the next few days up to New England.
I'm hearing a pop or something in the
yeah,
speakers.
Ron's got an audio problem.
Oh, okay. Is that
We
what
have
it
no
is?
audio. I think he can hear us, but we can't hear him. Nothing yet, Ron. I like the curtains in the back, man. You're putting it together.
Hey, I'll take what's behind curtain number 3. You know,
Yeah.
with my luck, it would be the goats. You know how that goes on the TV show. I'd get the goats.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get the car.
Yeah, guys, no news in the photography world. I haven't seen anything. I scoured everything last night, and I didn't come up with anything new. I was telling Jeffrey, thanks to Simon over at Ordinary Filmmaker for keeping the Z8 talk alive. I know that goes contrary to a lot of people on the internet, influencers or others, whether it be YouTube channels or sites. I guess I'm pointing finger over at Peter on Nikon Rumors. So I guess Peter's standing fast on he hasn't heard anything, therefore there isn't anything, and evidently doesn't care for the fact that we want to continue to talk about the Z8. So that's all I've gleaned from the internet. I watched a couple of Matt Irwin videos and checking in on him, and Vahagen's done some quick edits and put out some little stories from his interviews with different people. I think that's fantastic. I enjoy watching those little shorts. I guess
Yeah.
that's so other people that may have not seen those videos will check in and check them out. But
When's he released the videos on those?
it's been a while ago for some of them. The Joe
Oh, was it?
McNally,
Okay.
yeah.
Uh-oh, Chuck. Paul's talking about going back to B&H. You gonna see if your Paybu card works this time, Paul?
Hey, thanks for
that's what happens. You pay and then you go boo hoo. They should call it a pay boo hoo card.
Hey, I just wanted to say thanks to you guys there who checked out my Guns and Hoses video. That video hasn't done well on my channel, but I didn't expect it to. But thanks for checking it out.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
That was a lot of fun. We went to high school with the lady that asked us if we would shoot that event. Her husband was a sheriff here where we're from and passed away from cancer. So we said, yeah, no problem. We'd do that in a heartbeat for you.
Yeah, like I told you in the email, I've done a bunch, or in the comment maybe, I've done a bunch of those up here. You know, Connecticut's second only to California for registered motorcycles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
believe, I know, but
I'll be darned.
bikes are big up here.
Huh.
And so I've shot a bunch of the events, and you know, they're all good events. They're really good for the communities, and people look at those and want to make fun of, you know, all the bikers or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're good for the community because they do a lot of raising not just awareness, but money for different causes.
Yeah.
So I've shot just like you for a friend. You know, I've got a promoter friend up here and he's usually behind all those. And I've shot a lot of those, man. I've got bike photos out the yang. But you know what? Have you noticed yet? You have a lot of people that want their photo that you happen to capture.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I wind up with 100 emails from people that, hey,
Yeah.
can I get a copy of that?
Yeah. When they saw us there, they I had a lot of people approaching me. Hey, I want to give me your contact info. I'd like to have some photos of me and my bike, or just my bike. And you know, this is the first year they've been doing this event for a while, but this is the first year they've had a photographer do it. You know, everything's been like cell phone pics, and they were like, we want some legit pics, you know, mainly for marketing in the future and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, so that's, you know, I said, yeah, no problem. I had a brief law enforcement career with the city I live in as well. So I had lots of friends there. So
Yeah,
I used to road for a while, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun. Would
yeah,
always
I
do
did too.
back roads going to work.
I had several. I was a BMW rider. I had some old BMWs.
okay.
I used to ride the old twins.
All right. Trying to help Mr. Ron out. I guess he's rebooting now. He's going to try to come back. Hope he gets that audio sorted out. Always nice to have Ron in here. Yeah, a lot of events up here. Excuse me. Some people talking about that now
Yeah.
over in the chat. Excuse me.
Yeah, I ended up being a Yamaha guy. I had Yamahas.
Yeah, just
Yeah, it
like
was a lot of fun.
cameras.
Even we ended up at a place called Gales Power Sports out in Grandview, Missouri, and that's where the ride ended up. And they had a band that was playing there, and I shot a bunch of pics of them. Ended up sending them to them so they could use. I didn't charge anybody anything for any of this. It was just more or less just to have fun and meet everybody and have a good time.
Same thing here, Dave. I never charged them anything again because, it was supporting the cause or whatever and
Yeah,
promoting them and what they were doing. But on the photos though, with everybody wanting photos, the nice thing is that I did it all through a promoter for the events and I
oh
would
yeah,
just
nice.
I'd send them a ton of photos and tell everybody, go ask him.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Mr. Ronald is back. Let's see. Mr. Ronald.
Mhm.
Is he?
Still can't hear you.
Hey guys, can you hear?
It's the live thing, man. It's just
What
it's
about now?
I'm getting
Okay.
bits and pieces
Yeah,
here now. That's better than
Yeah.
we were.
I'll do this.
It's super delayed.
Oh, still can't hear you. Hey guys, anybody that wants to play in the Restream or the StreamYard or just doing any kind of streaming on YouTube, I gotta suggest this is one of those things. This becomes a money issue, but I would suggest an external microphone, be it USB plug-in if you're just driving it via the computer, or some other setup to drive your audio. But audio is everything when it comes to this. Everybody seems to think it's video. No, audio is the toughest of the bunch, no doubt
Yeah,
about it.
by far.
Oh, Safari's not allowing the mic to come on, and that's the
Uh,
other. There's the other issue you get into is, uh, especially on a Mac, it wants to stop everything. Everything is,
yep.
is a threat, and it's hard to get past that. Did you
I
go
don't know
into
if hey Ronald, I don't know if you have Chrome on your Mac, but if try Chrome, it usually is a little more forgiving.
Yeah, I do everything through Chrome now rather than Safari. All right.
well, the other thing too is to check your whatever mic you have assigned in your preferences. Go to that little thing that looks like a gear and Restream on the far right and click on that and go to audio and make sure that the mic that shows up is the same as the one you're actually using, because I've had sometimes where it thinks it's using my built-in mic on my Mac Studio and rather than my desktop mic, and I have to change it.
What about now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Here you now.
Okay. So that am I delayed?
No.
Slightly, a little maybe, and not much.
Okay. So hold on. Try one thing because I don't want everybody else to hear in my studio.
Right. Okay.
Great catch, Jeff.
Okay, I heard you say something there. No, you know what? If you're using the earbuds, I'm
What about
wondering if no, it's broken still.
It's broken.
You go to settings and restream there, the little gear icon, and check what audio it's trying to use. Open up the settings for audio there, and you can see what it's trying to use for audio for both listening and mic. So you guys know Steve Land is editing a video from based on what we talked about last Saturday. So he's going to have a video out maybe later today on that subject. You'll have to check that out. Keep an
Huh.
eye. I hear audio now.
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it like this.
I'll
We'll
try
leave it
not to
like
say
this.
anything embarrassing since you can hear me.
Our Laura
There are
is in
women
here.
and children. There are women and children who roll by. That's why.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Oh, we're the
Our
polite.
Laura's in
We're the
here. She's
polite
peeking.
photographers. We're the polite photographers.
Our Laura's in here. She's peeking in. Let me throw her comment up here. Let's see. Would you do an instructional video on how to store, manage, save digital photos? I didn't even comprehend use of the cloud. You know, that's a good topic to, I need instruction on that. I need somebody to help me out with my archiving and photos and everything else. So, we're going to find
that's a painful topic, although
It is.
I wouldn't do the cloud route typically because it's going to cost you more money than if you invest in a good storage system.
Yeah,
Cloud's not cheap.
the problem is if you store it all just at your house, you really need multiple locations to do it right.
So
I'm
Mosman
sure.
has no problem with using the earbuds or AirPods or whatever they are for conference calls, video conference calls. Yeah, I don't know. Audio is just it seems to harbor demons too that like to jump up in the middle of a stream for no reason. But hey, our Laura, good topic. We're going to have to tackle that. I need to get an expert in here to walk us through what we should be doing. And if anybody, you, David, Steve, I know you guys are archiving a lot of photos. We need to talk about NAS and all the other options out there and what would work best because that's the one thing I really need to do sooner rather than later.
Sure. I mean, I can give you, whenever we end up doing some show on that, I'll be glad to give you my thoughts anyway. I mean, there's many different ways to do it, and there's not any one way is the best for everybody. Everybody has their own way of doing it, and some things fit better for some people versus, like some people do use the cloud along with other methods, but I don't personally use the cloud. I have just, local storage. I have storage I keep at a bank that, it's kind of a pain, but every once in a while I'll make some backups and roll into my bank and throw them in a safe deposit box. And, there's many different ways to do it, but yeah, it'd be a great discussion to have.
Yeah. We need to look at the whole gambit of that, from beginner starter to up to professional and true archiving photos, because I'm not going to that extent, having three, two away, one local, and all the other things that a lot of people talk about, what you were talking about there.
Yeah,
Ron, you've got to have a storage system set up, considering all the photos that you take for clients and whatever. And I guess then you get into the discussion of how long should you keep them? Is it just because you want to, or because your service will guarantee up to a certain date?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just need it locally is all I want. I'm not worried about it.
I would love to hear Ron's perspective on that, on client photography and how long you do keep stuff like that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it does depend on the level of the client too. So let's start with
Sure.
that. but I back up in 3 local spaces, and then I use the iCloud.
Okay.
So I have 2 8 terabytes in my studio. I back up to, and then I have 2 8 terabytes at home that I back up,
Okay.
and I use the iCloud because
Okay.
I just can't anything or not have it. Secondly, if they come back to me a year or 2 later, that's fresh income. That's
Sure.
fresh remuneration. That's fresh remuneration. And and then and thirdly, I like keeping it for creative purposes. I may want to do a montage. I may want to do all kinds of stuff. I may want to submit it to magazines. So not only do I have most of it or backed up, I have model releases for about 95% of everything I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bought a RAID system, and Dave, I'm surprised you put stuff in a vault. I mean, birds don't usually like to be held in captivity like that, so I typically let my birds roam free. I don't lock them up in a bank.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a RAID set up too with 4 12 terabyte drives and then a separate storage here locally. And then, yeah, I keep all my, what I call my good pictures. I back those up separately to a separate drive, and that's the ones that go to the bank.
So since we're on this topic and you guys are already using NAS setups and RAID for you, Jeffrey, and of course Mr. Ronald down there, and I'm getting a lot of comments. If you watch the chat, there's a lot of chat going on about that as well. Yeah, and cost, as our Laura is saying here. Can I just call you Laura? As Laura's saying, I can't afford ongoing costs. So I hear that. And so that's why I say we need to talk about this from the ground up, from those that aren't in business and don't
Yeah.
need to archive everything to those of us that just want to keep our photos around. There's no guarantees. I mean, I know that's the first comment everybody will make is keeping it on site. There's no guarantees that that will protect it and you'll have it forever. I get that. Anything could happen. But there are those of us that aren't going to go to the, lengths of archiving so that we guarantee that that photo will be around for another 25 years. And on top of that, talking about uh, archiving because you're a professional, is that part of the cost that you put into? You account for that as well? Ron's shaking his head, yes. So for those of us that aren't professional, then we wouldn't have to worry about that. But you are passing that cost on, or a portion of that cost on, to clients to guarantee. So what is your guarantee on, let's just say, a high-end client? I mean, how long will you guarantee that they'll have access to those photos, Ron?
Depending on how high in a year, depending on how high a year.
That would be the longest that you would guarantee. Okay. And everybody's going to be different, I know.
I mean, yeah, that's what works. I got to release this stuff after 12 months. I got to release it, man. I can't keep that in my brain and on my mind and on my heart. I've got too many other family projects and too many other things going on, Chuck. And
Yeah.
I have discovered when you do that, that allows your focus on what it is they really want and what they want to do
Right.
with these images. Why they want me to create these images for them and where this is going to go. So all of that's a part of the discussion on licensing, why, where, when, and how. Those
Right.
4 things always at the heart of the discussion, man.
And Martin's bringing up here, back up to more than one place and back up regularly. Yeah, I think that these are all great points, but then we just got to break it down for people, that are professional, or whether they are or not. Maybe they just want to make sure they've archived everything they've shot, over a lifetime.
Well, and what I would say, like when I first started out, I had one hard drive I had everything on, and that hard drive actually crashed on me, lost everything. at the very least, at least have, even if it's in the same computer or if it's a separate USB drive, at least have one backup of a hard drive. Don't count on that spinning hard disk to run forever.
Which is
At
another
least,
great point in this discussion. Is it going to be SSD or
well, really, spinning hard disk is by far the cheapest method. You get
right?
more bang for your buck. And I tell you right now, that's all I use are spinning hard drives for backup. And now I have a more sophisticated system now, but at the very least, at least have two drives, same size, and just keep a backup going and rotate them out if you want, or however you want to do it. But at least have two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good move is just have a backup to whatever you're backing up to, if that makes sense. So you've got one goes bad, you still have the other. But of course, if that's the case and you have that happen to you, you do lose a hard drive, then you've got to go get another and back the other one up to the new drive or whatever.
Yeah.
There's just so much to think about in this, and it gets expensive pretty quick too when you start talking about
It
this
does.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then but people are going to say, what are your photos worth to you? And then you have to
exactly.
so
I mean,
mine are not bank worthy.
hey, I take pictures of birds, they're not coming after me for money or anything like that,
right.
but I save them for my own benefit. And, I do occasionally have people that see some of my stuff from way back that say, hey, I want to buy a print of such and such bird, and I'll dig through and I'll find it and print them out and, I sell a print every once in a while. But, at least that's why I keep that backup.
Yeah.
And it's, Chuck, what you said is so real. There's no one way to do it, but what D Moose is saying is true. You better do it though.
Yeah.
You better do it.
Yeah.
Especially when your livelihood depends on it, because I had a company call me. We did their work in February of this year. I shot 85 headshots for this company. They came back and asked for another of our senior executive. I was so glad I had that backed up at home and in the studio. I was so glad that I was able to go back and find the raw files.
Yeah.
Because for some of them, I wanted raw and not JPEG. I didn't want to work from JPEG. I wanted to work from raw. Okay, Jeff, with some of these folks, and it helped. So, Chuck, that's another level to this. JPEG and RAW, or do you just back up RAW?
Well, I was just going to say that, Ronald, because, one of the things about doing this is you have to be diligent in what you're doing. You can't just let it go, let it go, let it go. And how many people want to do that? So you just have to make sure that you're ready to really archive the photos. The other thing is sorting through and getting rid of a lot of trash instead of just grabbing the card and dropping the whole card into storage or whatever, because storage costs money and it doesn't take long nowadays to go through 10 terabytes.
Exactly.
So if you've got 5,000 photos from the dog race or whatever it was you shot,
especially if you're backing up raw files, today's cameras, you're eating up some space.
Yeah.
For me, one of the solutions for that is using Photo Mechanic to color through and choose images that I like, because I can delete batches at a time with Photo Mechanic. So for me, Photo Mechanic has been a lifesaver, and I'm using Photo Mechanic 6. I think it's on now.
Okay.
So that's been a lifesaver, and it's fast. Oh my gosh.
It's really fast.
Quick.
That's the thing we're talking about here too, is again, how do we do this from the ground level for the just amateur or somebody just wants to keep photos all the way up to the professional? And there's so much money involved, and we always want to swing to the absolute best. Now we're talking about adding more software. And again, it goes back to why do you want to archive your photos? Why do you want to back them up? And that's going to drive the train on how much money you want to spend. But I agree. And Breyer's talking about let's see, just learned to add Mac compatibility to NTFS Windows formatted external drive. Firmly believe Insight storage is the way to go. Suits me best, at least. Insight, or you mean on-site, or is Insight a brand, Briar? You're talking to somebody that's a complete idiot here, and you know, I have to ask these questions. Are we talking about some brand or some storage type or another
I bet
technique?
that was supposed to be on-site
I
storage.
think so. I'm
Yeah.
just asking because there are people that are going to be watching and saying, okay, what's this Insight, or are we just talking
Yeah.
about on-site?
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, when we're talking about on-site storage, that means you're home, period. That's it.
Yeah.
You keep them on an external drive, whether it's connected to anything or not, and you just bring it out and update the drive with new whatever, new photos. And you know, a lot of people will argue and say that's not very wise, because if your house burns down, God forbid it happens to anybody, but then you lose everything, or somebody breaks in and steals all your stuff, then you lost it again. So having offsite as well just adds that next level of protection. And now we're talking about cloud too. And, you know, with the cloud, then there's an expense in that as well. I don't know that I trust the cloud forever though, but
Oh, I would never trust the cloud as my only backup.
yeah.
Especially like in Ronald's case, there's no way I would trust, if I had paying clients like that, I would never trust cloud only. No
Right,
way.
right. And that's a very key point. It's both. It's yin and yang, guys. It's
Yeah.
peanut butter and jelly. It's black and white. It's all of it. It's yes to all of it. And you just do the best you can to be the best you can.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. So everything you're saying is right. Nobody's wrong. I agree. It's that straight from member, a paid client, man, and I'm going to have to fly to California to make it right. This is about 12 years ago. I lost the senior images. My hard drive crashed. I told this family I'd come back out 10 years later and redo the shoot, because it's nobody's fault. The hard drive crashed. And at that time, y'all, 10, 12, 15 years ago, backup was primary like it is now.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we weren't as knowledgeable. I had it backed up, but the hard drive failed and I lost everything, man. I lost tons of images. So, I learned a very bitter lesson.
Yep.
And I'm grateful the family was very kind to me. And I told him, hey, let's set up a time and I'll come back out and we'll shoot. And he's gone on to college, graduated, but I still told him I'd still like to redo that shoot. I'd like to recast that and reimagine that with his new dog that is living now. The old one died, so I know exactly where all the little rivers are and all the little places we went in Southern California. So I'm just saying, I learned a bitter lesson 13, 14 years ago.
So I think that would be the most important for me, is backing up. I got a lot of the kid photos and things like that I definitely don't want to go anywhere. How many people got a dozen of these or some other small,
Only a dozen?
recording media? Yeah. And they're all over and not just that, but they're all over the place. So this is speaking to my organization here. And that's something you must have if you're going to do this. Yeah. And I've got 3 different, mind you, because I didn't buy them all at the same time, upstairs, 3 different external hard drives, optical, not the, not SSD. And I've backed them up on top of each other. And I just got a mess is what I have. Because you got to be organized when you start this.
Whatever you do, don't trust these things at all. These things are so flaky and go bad so quick. And this is a large one. This one's 512 gig. And I throw stuff on this every once in a while, but not as a backup, because these things will ultimately just stop reading one day. Yeah. I've gone through a lot of these, and they're name brands too. They're not just cheapies,
Yep.
Can I ask you a question, Chuck?
Yes, sir.
This is one of the things I applaud Nikon for. Have y'all ever had a CF Express or XQD card fail?
I have. I've
Never.
Which one?
I had
Or-
it was an XQD card, and it was I think it was a Lexar XQD. Failed me,
That's
and
what I've heard those failing.
yeah, and this, then they quickly went out. Lexar quit making those.
Yep.
And I bought two. One of them failed. One of them I still have. I don't use it anymore because it's too slow for the Z9 unless I'm just shooting, portrait type stuff. It's fine. But it still works. But they will fail. They're great. Then the failure rate's pretty low. But I don't care what brand, they will fail. Don't trust them. Don't trust them as a backup.
I had a Lexar card come apart.
Yeah.
I didn't have that with any other card, but I had a Lexar card just come apart, and I was like, I sent it back. They sent me another one. I just didn't have the confidence.
I've never, and I've told this story before, but I've never had either an XQD card or the new CF Express B cards. I've never had one fail. And I ran an XQD card through the washer, through the dryer, in my pants pocket, and it worked fine afterwards. So, that sold me on. That was way back when everybody was talking about card failures. Now, I've had CF cards fail. Yes, I have.
Oh, the old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were Chuck's cleanest images he ever took.
Exactly.
That was the one that got away, huh?
I should have put together my own pack, like the Pro pack, the washed look or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, Moz, man, we need to talk, man. If you'd be willing, I'd love to get you on here upcoming, not too far away, and talk about this. I really would, so that people understand and can choose wisely rather than just willy-nilly looking at what's on sale. And not that that's bad all the time either, but to try to help everybody out. If you're willing to do that, Moz, I'd love to talk to you, man, and get you on here to talk about that.
I'm going to show you something here. I've got a Angelbird AV Pro card here.
Yep.
This happened to me the other day. I was taking it out of the camera, and I don't know if you could see that silver spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually supposed to be a piece of black plastic there. I opened up my card slot on the Z9, and I noticed that was missing. And I got the card out, and I'm like, where the heck is this broken piece at? Well, it had fell down into the card slot. And all these CFX Express cards and XQDs, they're all made exactly the same. So just be careful. And I'm not rough with my cards at all. I mean, heck, they stay in my camera for the most part. This little piece broke off. And had I not found it and then jammed this card back in there, it would have damaged, I'm sure it would have damaged the pins down inside that. So be careful with these. If you look at that, and look at your cards, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just look at your cards, you'll know.
I'm laughing because Mars said the Z9 has defective slots.
I didn't see that till just now. Yeah. Anyway, the moral of the story is, man, keep an eye on these cards because they're all made identical. There's just a little thin piece of plastic there, and it breaks off. I don't know why.
All right, call. Let me find my headphones. Hang on just a second. Let me make sure. All right.
Mar.
Go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, it's Moz, Mr. Moz.
Yeah, it's me. Listen, I only called in. I didn't call in to talk about raids and NAS systems, but I did call in about the Angelbird card, and I wanted to let everyone know that that's the known defect with that card, and they will replace it for free. Apparently what happened is they used subpar, I don't know if it was the plastic that they used or it was the cooling that they used, the cooling process that they used, but it's a known defect and they will replace it. But I had it happen to my card as well, and I'm kind of done with Angelbird cards after that. But just so you know, you can replace that card for free.
Angelbird reached out to me because of a video I did about the Z9 overheating, or no, it wasn't overheating. It was locking up with their cards. And they reached out to me. And after doing some, back and forth with them, I finally just did an out of the box reset on the Z9, and like a factory reset, not just resetting the menus. And it was right after I'd upgraded the firmware, and that cured it. I've never had any problems since, but until this happened with the card. So yeah, they reached out. They were going to replace this one as well, but I just told them, look, the card's functioning fine. I didn't want to mess with it, sending it in and all that. So,
Yeah.
But they have been pretty good as far as reaching out and customer support. I will give them credit for that.
This is what's good about.
Do you have to return
having a
that
live
card to
stream
them?
here. And Mozman, I want to thank you for calling in, because immediately one person has an issue, and they don't mean to, but they're talking about the issue, and then everybody goes into, well, that product's no good, that brand's no good. I mean, if Angel Bird has at least acknowledged, yeah, we had defective parts for a certain run of cards, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I will say that they were right on top of it, and I saw them posting in the Z9 groups on Facebook and elsewhere that if anyone had that issue, that they would take care of them. The problem that I had with Angel Bird is I tried to get my card replaced, and they sent me this. They wouldn't send me the card first. They wanted me to send my card in, and I told them I need the card right now. Is there anything else we can do? And they said, well, you can prepay for another card, and we'll refund you when you get your card back. So I went that route. And then I tried 7 or 8 different times to pay for it in advance, and their payment system wasn't working. So it just got to the point where I got fed up. And, Delkin has a really good warranty program.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to stick with Delkin after this, just because Angel Bird was great. But, I tried 7 times to prepay for the card, and it didn't work with different credit cards. And I just couldn't spend any more time. So once I get that figured out, I'm sure it'll be fine. But for me, it was just an exercise in futility.
Yeah, hey, Mozman, that's the same reason why I didn't send mine in, because they wanted me to send it in before I got a replacement. And I was like, heck, I'm using it. I need this card right now. So I just didn't want to hassle with it. But, they were on top of it. And but I'm the same way. I use Delkin Blacks. Those are good cards.
So let me make sure I heard you guys correctly. They are requiring that you send it in first before they replace it?
Yeah. That's what they wanted me to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a no-go. That's a no-go. I need, like you, I need my cards until,
had they said, hey, we're going to ship you one out as soon as you get it, ship us that one, I would have done it in a heartbeat.
I'm just looking through the comments, guys. Hey, Moz, I know you answered Laura's comment about what happens to your photos in the cloud if you decide that's it, I'm done with the cloud.
Yeah, pretty sure you're going to lose availability to those. I don't imagine that they keep them around for a specified length of time. Just once you stop paying, you may not have an opportunity to get them back. Unless you're within 30 days or something, maybe you'll get lucky. But,
and let me ask this question, because I'm an idiot. What if I decide I don't want to keep them stored in the cloud? I make a decision that, no, I'm not going to keep them in the cloud. How do I get them off the cloud to?
See, that's a problem too, because then you're going to have to download them, and then you're at the mercy of your internet connection, and that can take that could take days.
Well, yeah, I could see that if you had, 10 or 15 terabytes. I don't know why you would pay that much for, but anyway, 10 or 15 terabytes worth of photos.
Some companies that are the bigger companies, sometimes it costs you, but they'll send you a hard drive of your photos in the mail. They'll actually mail your stuff to you, but you have to pay for it, of course.
Man. Okay,
so there's another money, man. It's all about the money.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is a whole show talking about, because these are good questions, and I don't know the answer to it. And I'm glad, Maz, you've been in this for a long time. Again, would you be willing to put together, come on the show and go through a whole thing, answering questions and talking about this?
Oh, absolutely. If anybody wants, the first thing I would tell anybody out there that's backing up images, and I'm sure everyone else would echo this, is just you need redundancy. No matter what you're backing up to, make sure you're backing it up in more than one place on more than one device. And the easiest way to get started is to, just use a drive that you can plug into your computer or your laptop. But make sure you either have that drive mirrored, which means you have two identical drives in the drive bay, and the data is mirroring each other. So if one of those drives fails, you'll have that backup, and it's an exact clone of that first drive. Or you're using multiple drives and just backing it up twice. If you're using a Mac, it's pretty easy. You've got automated backups already built into the operating system. So
yeah, these little 5 terabyte
that's all
drives.
I'm doing is I just got a RAID system, and I have one drive mirroring the other external. And that was my first go, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, because I had filled up my my hard drive on my computer. And I said, well, this isn't working too good. I mean, I got to figure something out. So I just went with an external, G-RAID, and mirrored it. But
See,
there's
more foreign language there to me. G-RAID.
that's just the brand
This is
name.
why we need to have a show and talk about this.
But eventually, I'm going to have to get another one. Luckily, you can plug one into another, and just keep daisy chaining drives together. But it runs into some money.
Well, it's just like anything else. And, you get into photography and you think, yeah, I'm just going to get a camera and I'm just going to have fun. And the next thing you know, you're, $25,000 in debt, because it's not the camera that you need. You need the storage. You need the computer. You need the editing software. You need this. You need that. And then, oh, by the way, there's a video out by a guy that just made this fantastic photo with a new widget. Now you got to have that too.
Oh, well, then if you get into video and you never were in video, then you say, well, my computer's kind of old and isn't going to support it, and blah, blah, blah. And you end up updating your computer and then buying that software to do video editing. And it's just a money pit is what it is. You got to love it, man, to keep sinking the money in.
And I just saw Briar's post here. There are a lot of different videos out there on YouTube. So I don't want you guys to think, no, just hang on and wait till we do a show on it. There are a lot of, but it's so much better when you're hearing from somebody you know or trust or whatever. And that's why I'd like to do a show where we can all sit down and definitely with you, Moz, man, and go through these questions. What's this? What's that? Why would I want this over that? And, I understand it's your opinion, but you've got some experience here, a lot of experience in it. And it just may help some of us out to go to B&H and spend more money.
Absolutely. Or elsewhere.
Because that's exactly what we're going to do is go spend more money.
I'm going to create a new company, Mazman Storage Solutions, and you can call him and he'll set you up.
I'll put together some affiliate links.
Okay,
yeah. One of the reasons, Chuck, that I asked that question was to back up is capture and the reliability of capture. So before I can even get to backup, is at the point of my capture is that reliable, and that's why, just to put it out there for everybody, that's why I asked that question, not to take off your topic, sir, but before I can even get to backup, how reliable is my capture, and how much can I depend and rely on that? I mean, no disrespect, guys, but I know some of y'all gonna laugh when I say this. I drive a Hyundai, I drive a Genesis, right? And man, people told me, man, those cars are throwaway cars, they're not that good. Drove over to Atlanta. How you doing, sir? Atlanta. Test drove it. We were getting ready to buy an Audi. But man, when I started looking at the Audi A6 and all of the cost of repair, changes, maintenance, I told my wife, I said, this is going to be tough. I saw that Genesis, test drove, called 3 or 4. I called 3 or 4 mechanics that I know. And they said, if you want reliability and weight and comfort and decent gas mileage, that's a good thing. And you got to remember, guys, I'm in the Bible Belt where it's all about Ford, apple pie, and bacon. This is not Southern California. those four mechanics told me, you will be happy you made that purchase. I'm saying that because in order to do what I do, I needed to have consistency. I needed to have a reliable system, and I needed to have something that I knew I didn't have to pay $500 and $700 for an oil change. And so for me, at the point of capture is quality. So that therefore I can move and do my job and be reliable. And that's why to this day I've enjoyed my Genesis. It's still running great. It cost me $50 for an oil change, and I keep moving. And that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So, like anything else, you're going to have to invest. But here's the thing, having everybody in a chat where we can actually discuss it and get everybody's experience with it, I think it pays off, and it makes everybody feel a little more comfortable. Again, I want to do this again. I really don't want to do it today because we're not set up for it today. I'd like to make sure everybody knows it's coming so everybody can join in and they can share their experiences in the chat. And Maz, you can be the shell answer man, helping us out with some of the questions. I'm looking through chat right now, and I mean, there's a whole lot of discussion going on over here. You got 5,600 RPM drives, 7,200 RPM drives. What does that mean? I do, at least I know that much, or some of that. Maybe I don't know the entirety of it, but all those kind of things. Albert was talking about he had a drive, and I can't remember, Albert, I saw your comment, that's lasted him 15 years. And I would say that's good. That's great. But,
you're on borrowed time.
Yeah. I would guess. Yeah. So all these questions and all these comments, I think it'd be a great show. I need to know. I want to know. I'm going to be selfish. I want to know because I do need to invest in it. I mentioned it a while back. I want to set it up so that it's as easy as it can be for me, because I'm no techno wizard, but to be able to set up at least a redundant system to archive what I'm shooting. And then I've got to not be lazy and just dump cards on it with 2,000 photos where, 1,999 of them are worthless that I'm archiving.
Absolutely. And don't get, lulled into complacency with a warranty. Even an enterprise drive is got a 5-year warranty, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to last you 5 years. The drive can fail. If you have it in a hot environment, say you just don't have air conditioning on the summer and your NAS is running, I mean, those drives can fail within a couple of months if it gets hot enough. So, your warranty only covers replacement. It doesn't recover getting your data back.
Hey, and another thing on warranty is be careful where you buy your drives from. If you're buying some drives off Amazon, some of these companies that are selling on Amazon, the 5-year warranty is not applicable, and you have to send it to that company that's selling it on Amazon and not to the manufacturer. They won't honor it. So be careful.
Speaking of hard drives, to Mozman and anyone else, when it comes to SSD, solid state drives, what are the top 3 or 4 brands that you guys recommend? Mozman, D Moots, Jeff, Chuck, what brands do y'all recommend? What are the top 5 that you think when it comes to solid state, and then spinning hard drives too?
I use a lot of Western Digital products, and the Iron Wolf products is what I've been using.
Yeah, and the enterprise drives or ones that are considered enterprise level drives are what I have in my RAID system. And then I do have a few of the portable solid state drives, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte drives for out in the field or whatever, or to dump stuff off of a laptop and throw it on that. But I could do a lot. I know I could be doing things a lot better than I am too.
Maz, any recommendations there? I mean,
I couldn't hear everything that was being said.
Oh, okay.
I will say that enterprise drives are really what you want to go with, especially if the data is that important. Western Digital makes good ones. Western Digital Red are really good for RAID systems, but it also depends on what you want to use that RAID system for. If you want to use video, then you do want a faster drive. You want to 7,500, 10,000 RPM drive. But if it's just for storage, 5,400 is plenty.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think of G-Tech, Mozman?
What do you think of G-Tech?
G-Tech, personally, no experience with them.
I see those in the Apple stores quite a bit.
I mean, these things tend to, I mean, back in the day, 30 years ago, Quantum were their best drives, and then they all have their run,
Yeah.
Western Digital used to be very unreliable drive, but, they've gotten a lot better over the years. So.
All right, Moz, man, put this in your pocket so we can do this. I'll be in touch, man. We're going to have to communicate and set this up on a date that's convenient for you, but you can see how many questions are generated here in just a few minutes, and they're all good questions, especially from my perspective, because I don't know anything really, let alone setting it up, even in which brands or whatever, or what system to put together. And I know there are many. Roy's been talking about Nas being, something that's one of maybe the best to start out with, or it's more affordable. And I can't remember all that you said there, Roy, but anyway, yeah, man, let's do this. Let's help each other out. That was a great question by Laura. I really appreciate her asking that, because that's generated a lot of comments, and I know there are a lot of people that have questions and want to ask, and maybe even if you know what you're doing, there's something that comes out of that discussion we have that helps you out as well.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has like photos that they absolutely want to keep, back them up to the cloud too. Google, you can get cheap enough storage from Google. And not if you want to spend, or not if you want to store terabytes of data, but those family images, things that you can't recover, you don't want to lose. Back those up to the cloud as well.
Okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure, Ronald, those G-Tech drives are actually Western Digital drives inside of them. I think
I was going to get into that, because that's the other fallacy is you're buying these. There's any number of names of external hard drives out there, and like somebody was talking about, I don't know if it's you, Moz, man, going to eBay or going to Amazon or whatever and finding all these, let's just call it like it is, Chinese vendors that are they just rebranding a lot of these drives?
Some of those on there are rebranded drives. I can't remember the name right now. There's an SSD out there that looks like a great deal, a great buy, but they're actually just rebranded other drives with their slapping their sticker on.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, some of these
you definitely want to
places
buy from a reputable seller, because you could actually end up buying used drives. I've seen people get drives that are marked as new, and then they install them and there's already data on them. So
yeah,
okay, all
I mean,
right.
some of these places that sell the chassis that house the drives, the more reputable ones. I mean, they'll tell you what manufacturers' drives that they put in their units. And they'll tell you if they're enterprise drives. They'll tell you if they're Seagate drives or they're Western Digital drives or whatever. Because there's a lot of companies that make chassis and enclosures to house all these drives, and then they don't make the drives themselves. They just provide you the opportunity to put in what size drive you want, and then they'll tell you what type that they sell or that they put in their unit.
Yeah, and that's, you just spoke a mouthful there, Jeffrey, and that goes back to what I was saying about, we don't know what are the brands. There are only X number of companies that probably build these or whatever, I'm guessing, but then they resell to others to rebrand them for themselves. So what brands, the internals, what are we looking for? What's best? What should we be spending our money on? So all that, to talk about too, Moz, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot.
Hey, Moz, I'm going to let you go because there's another question up here, but I want to talk to you, man. I really want to do this. I think it's valuable for the community, and I want to learn from it as we go along.
Yeah, we should set something up. Just let me know when's good.
All right, brother. I will here real soon. All right. Thanks for calling. Thanks for answering a bunch of questions here, and look forward to having a show just about this stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
All right.
Take care, Moz, man.
See ya.
Hey, okay. and I'm not trying to change subjects, but here's a subject that I've been, talking about for a long time, and I'll just let you know, I'm one of those people that does this. So Gustavo's asking about Hudson Henry, talking about deleting photos in camera as you go along. I know there's a big controversy. Did listen to what Angel Bird had to say about it. Angel Bird, from their perspective, no, there isn't an issue. I've been doing it for years, deleting photos in camera, and I've never had an issue ever. Does that mean I'm lucky? I don't think so, because I think maybe this is blown out of proportion where people say if you do it in camera, you can corrupt the card or whatever. And I don't remember. There's a real good video though out with Angel Bird talking about it, because somebody asked them, the people that make cards, and they explained why it's not the issue that everybody makes it out to be. Somebody had a problem, which is what I want to do here in this, rather than, somebody walking in and saying, well, I had, XYZ card go bad on me, so don't buy XYZ cards. Well, there could be a million reasons, but if there's a consensus that this is something that happens all the time, then yes, it's probably a good idea not to buy XYZ cards. But in this question, if you can get me, 500 people together that have definitely had problems and repeated the problem even, then I would bow off on this. But I've never, ever had an issue with doing this. And I don't know where it came from. Again, somebody just had a bad experience, and then it meant that you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
No, Roy, you have an opinion on it too. But according to, and again, I'm saying this because I've never had the issue. And according to Angel Bird, when they were asked that question, they had an explanation for it. And it's more than just deleting photos off a card in camera. So I don't know what you guys think about it. Hudson Henry didn't come up with the idea. I've been doing it for years.
I've deleted pictures in camera. I've never had any issues. I don't sit there and do it often, because what I find is if you're sitting there looking at your camera deleting pictures, you're missing something. At least as a wildlife photographer, because I'm out there trying to look for what's going on anyway. So the more time I spend looking at the back of my camera, the less time I'm capturing stuff.
And I'm not saying, this to promote doing it. I'm just saying that I've never had an issue, and I do it, like I said, all the time. I'll go through, especially when I got the Z9 and hit the button at 120 frames per second, like an idiot. Now I've got all those, I've got 120 frames of a rock, just to see how it works.
See how it works.
Well, it's funny how you mention a rock.
That's what the format card's for.
Yeah, well, you're right. But I always have one photo in the middle of it that I want
that you want.
I ain't gonna lie, man. That thing is addictive. I ain't gonna lie. You just gotta try it one day. You gotta try.
Oh yeah.
If you've never tried that in your life, you just like, hold on, I want to. Like, okay, I just want to.
It scares you to death when you do it too. It's like, whoa.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't mess around with deleting stuff while I'm in the field, because it's a waste of time, I think.
Yeah.
I might do it in the camera. If I get home and the wife wants to talk to me or whatever, I might have the camera in my lap and I might start going through a few of them, and the ones that are definitely horrible,
good
I'll start deleting them ahead of time before I get.
No, good point. How many people have shot an event walking around and you go home and you download the photos and you got 2 or 3 of your shoes? You got
yeah, because you're pointing the camera down. Oh yeah,
because you're just holding the camera and you hit the button. You
don't know how many times I've got video of my floorboard of my car as I'm driving around.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Chuck, at a live concert on Monday night, I accidentally hit. I was like, oh my God, I had like 50 photos of the floor.
Yeah.
I was photographing, and I said, I just went to photo mechanic and said, okay, this is just out. This is not going to work. Okay, let me just delete this whole batch. That's when I was grateful for photo mechanic.
But that's a good example.
Yeah.
That's a good example. You just took 50 pictures of the floor. You don't want to sit there and delete them in the field. You're going to miss the concert or whatever you're photographing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. But, then again, though, just out shooting, single frame, and I'll take a bunch of photos and then realize, no, that's the one I want. I don't want all these others. Nowadays with cards as large as they are, yeah, you can go home and then downloading them is another issue. Trying to download only the ones. Yeah, you got to go through and choose which photos. And if you got 1,000 photos and you want a couple of hundred that are mixed in the 1,000, now I got to go through and review every one of them and check the ones I want to keep and the ones I don't want to keep or whatever. Or you can just download it all, which is typically me, and then just grab blocks of photos that I don't want, delete, send to trash. All right. Hey, Bob, I just want to let you know we are going to do this again, man. Keep your eyes open. I don't know, here in the next couple of weeks at least, we're going to have a full blown show on just this memory backup and all the things that go along with it. And man, there's just so much to unbox when it comes to this. And I knew there was, but I really didn't realize how much until we started chatting today. And it's just way too much to do it off the cuff. So get ready.
And
Everybody get ready to spend money.
That's what you get for talking to us, Chuck.
I know, but I need to do it, and it's worth a whole show to talk about it because there are probably a lot of people out there that have these questions as well. All right,
And Chuck,
sir.
can I ask a question? Okay.
Yes.
One other thing too is that, Moots is saying how he shoots birds. Jeffrey, you shoot birds too, right?
Well, not with a gun, but with the camera, yes.
And birds don't like to be caged, right?
That's right. They don't like to get put in the bank.
And I'm wondering, is there a certain storage that's better photography? Is there certain types of storage, brands and or methods? And that could be a part of the next discussion you have too, Chuck.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I mean,
I don't either.
What I shoot with events and or fashion and editorial and commercial, it's one thing. And that's why, again, for me, I had to deal with, at the point of capture, how reliable is what I'm using before I even get to Seagate or G technology, because
and that's a good point, because this can go whenever you have this next show. Workflow. You have to start, like you're saying, at your capture. And when I'm out in the field, like especially if I'm traveling, if my wife and I are out traveling around wherever, a different state, as soon as we get back to our room, whatever, I'm backing those cards up to this 5 terabyte drive right here. So I immediately have a backup right away. And then I'm also backing it up I'm also backing this up directly to a laptop. So right away, I've got 2 different backups right there in the field. So that could,
that's so heavy.
They are.
This sucker is so heavy.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my gosh! I'm like, what did Chuck? I feel like I did something wrong. I feel like I'm being punished.
Yeah, I just don't think orange is your color, man.
Yeah,
it's the orange does it. That ain't working.
Yeah, but that's a good drive you have there because it's tough.
Hey, David. Yes, the CF Express card readers do heat up, and the cards themselves, of course, you probably know already, do heat up as well. But the card, I mean, just the reader, which I have right here, plugged into the computer with no card in it, actually gets hot. Not to the blistering hot or anything, but it warms up just being plugged into the computer. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So with these blistering, the blistering speed of these new cards, all that data, man, it's definitely generating some heat, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, because the old XQD cards didn't do that, or the readers.
No. And we were talking about XQD cards. My XQD cards were from the original company, Lexar. Okay.
Yeah, Lexar. Yeah.
But
the ones that failed.
But those didn't fail me. However, the new cards, after somebody picked up the brand and started building their own cards under the Lexar label, and that was a whole debacle.
Yeah.
But I never had any trouble at all with the old cards. I've still got You know, a bunch of them too. I bought them when they were on sale at one time, and they were relatively cheap.
No,
I just
no,
tried to
hold on,
buy.
Chuck. No,
Yeah.
Amar, I don't feel punished using my Z9. He made that leap
Yeah.
from this to the Z9. No, brother, no, I'm not giving you that one. No, man, I don't feel punished. I loved my Z9 experience in concert and wherever. I love holding my camera and feeling my baby. Yes. By the way, her name is Lindsay.
Okay. I just passed up a whole bunch of comments. Sorry, folks. Try to get back down here and get back to what everybody's talking about. If you made a comment earlier, you want an answer to a question, or you really want everybody to, or you want us to talk about it, you'll just have to do it again and, drop the comment again. I'll catch up that way. It's time for me to refill the coffee cup, guys. So no phone calls, at least for the next few minutes. Jeffrey, hold down the ship, man. Keep us focused, and I will be right back, Mr. Ron.
I don't have enough fingers to plug all the holes in the ship.
Yeah,
I have
that's
to
true.
borrow Ron and Dave's fingers.
Yeah. All right, guys.
So
this would be a good time to take a break.
Take care of your coffee.
Yes, sir. Go right
Why you
ahead.
go take care of your coffee?
Yes, sir.
Said in the chat. Oh man, where did it go? Somebody just said, "Oh, let's see." Mike Farrell said, "Lacies are not cheap." I have taken this for years all over the place, the country, and different parts of the world. It hasn't failed me yet, and it's been consistent. It's quick, so the price I paid for it was worth the investment. And the reliability has been ridiculous. And like you said, demotes the toughness.
Yeah.
Man, all it takes is for one thing to happen bad. And Jeff, you'll wish you had invested.
Yeah.
All it takes is for that, like that current one thing that happened. Then you're like, man, I should have gone on and paid for this thing.
Yeah, I got a handful. I got different, and I'm not so brand loyal with them. I've got this is G-Raid, portable G-Raid. So I got a couple of those, and then I got the Samsung SSDs. Those are nice and small.
Yeah, those are great because they're so lightweight, portable.
I mean, you can put those in your shirt pocket. I mean, I like those too. But you just want to buy one that when people say I don't know what brand to buy or whatever. I mean, you could go on the internet and you can just do a search and say reliability ratings on external hard drives or hard drives in general, and you'll get a full report of all the different brands and how long they typically have run between having failures, mean time between failure, they call it. You can get all that data, but just by going on the internet and doing your own searches, and you can get an idea of what 2 or 3 brand drives are going to be the best to buy directly from the company, or know what you want put in that chassis that you're buying from somebody else. So the information's out there. I'm going to tell you a funny story. Figured I got a little humor. This morning I'm with a couple guys and we're taking pictures of some birds, and somebody pulls up in the car and they go, "What are you shooting at?" And I just said, "Nothing much." So they just kept driving. So I told the guys, I said, "You know what? The next time we see somebody that we think's going to ask us what we're shooting at, let's just all aim at a rock and look really, really interested. And when they say what we're shooting at, we're just going to turn around and say, well, we're taking a picture of this rock because I swear I saw it move a few minutes ago."
That's a good one, Jim. That's a good
You know,
one.
as Verhagen would say, rock and roll, right? Rock and roll, baby.
Mhm. Now, would Mike Farrell, would you use a Mac Mini for store? He's asking, is anybody using a Mac Mini? Is that a storage device, or is that I mean, it's a computer.
It's
Or
a
would you
computer,
use-
just a very small chassis. Very small.
How much hard drive? How much space does it have?
Well, it depends on which one you order from Apple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full blown Mac computer. The Mac Mini is, but
Yeah.
it's a stripped down version. You know.
How big? I mean, I don't know any sizes with it.
Well, I think you can order them. I'm not sure. I haven't looked forever, but I think you can order a Mac Mini with a 512 in it, maybe even 1 terabyte. I'm not even sure.
That's it.
Yeah, because it's a computer, and you know, if you want the more than just the base storage, you have to build it out through. Yeah, it looks like you can get a 2 terabyte built into it if you want. But
That's it. I'm sorry. That's an interesting line to take as we deal with storage and everything. To the audience, has 512 ever been attractive to you on your main computer body? 512 gigabytes. Has that ever been something that appealed to you? And if so, why? And if not, why?
Well, I mean, it was that 20 years ago or 15 years ago, but I mean, obviously obviously nowadays, no. But I mean, if I was just doing primarily, if I wasn't doing photography and I was just doing, I need something to store my written records and memos and things like that, then
that's a ton of space.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, like a desktop app type stuff. But if you're getting into photos, that changes the whole thing. I think you got to at least have 1 terabyte. But what I found out is I had internal storage is so much more expensive than external storage. And now the benefit is that the data is transferred faster. But then you're putting all your eggs in one basket. I mean, once again, you're going to want to back up your data. So I got to the point when I bought my new Mac, I said, well, I'm gonna take everything I had in my library in Lightroom, and I'm gonna put it on that RAID system. And I'm going to put everything on the RAID system, and I'm going to leave my internal drive free for other stuff that's not as important.
What do you think about Jay Kimmer's response? What do you think about Jay Kimmer's response?
If you're a junior high school student, yeah. I mean, hey, people put stuff on there using tablets, right, to do a lot of stuff now, and a lot of those people aren't putting a lot of memory in them, because it's very expensive to put the higher end memory in them.
Yeah, that's what I think from the chat.
Hey, we got phone a friend here, Mr. Amar, on the line.
Hey, Ron, I got a question for Ron, man.
Yeah.
Leica.
What is the C, man?
Let's see.
It's called Lasai. You know, it's a French name.
Yeah. Nikon and Nikon, right?
Yeah.
Tomato.
Hey, name is not Ronald, it's Ronald.
It's Ronald. He said it's not Ronald, it's Ronald.
Hey, what's your question, bro?
That was his question. I don't know. What is it? Is it Lacree, Lassie, I don't know.
Lasai.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
have a buddy of mine that actually works for them. So
is it Mickey, McKay, what for those lenses? That lens brand. I can't keep up with all these names. Why can't people spell things phonetically?
It's just like Whitelander.
Whitelander.
So
yeah, why don't they just call it wannabe Zeiss? I mean, Zeiss.
Yeah.
I asked that question about the storage on a computer because we're talking about storage.
So on the phone, does it only show like you and me?
Yeah, that's the problem with it right now. I don't have an expensive setup here. You know, I'm all cheap.
Oh, I got you.
I got
Oh,
you.
he's
You and I
I
can.
can get on the computer if that's easier, so they can hear.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just figured maybe, hey, man, new technology. Let me try that.
Yeah. Well, it's new old technology.
Yeah. It works pretty good though for you and I. It's working really great.
It does. It works. It
Yeah.
works great. And maybe the
I
new
hear you, Miles,
Rodecaster
man.
Pro 2 will allow the.
Hey man, we're supposed to get the Shore. That's what Hagen said. Why are you talking about Rodecaster now?
Because that's what I use.
Oh, okay.
It's Rodecaster.
Man, you guys are gonna have me going broke buying all this stuff.
That's right.
All these things.
Exactly, man. That's what it's all about. Spending money.
That's right.
The more you do, the more it costs.
It's all about the want. That's right.
All right, brother. You want to join us?
I'm going to do that. Yeah, let me do that.
All right.
Yeah. Did you shoot me? I think you already shouted over to me. So
Yep.
Yeah, I have it.
All right.
Great. Thanks.
Bye. Oh, man. All right. It's a pretty lively show today, all because of NAS, whatever it is. So now we're going to get into the naming convention of everything.
So
all right.
while you were gone, Chuck, we were asking about the size of the main computer. Does the 512 gigabyte hard drive still internal look attractive in this day and age of external hard drives? And Jay Kimmer said, hell no. He said that is enough for storage for all your stuff, you know.
Okay. It's a good
but I'll tell you what, that's all you need for a boot drive. If you have that, you don't even need that for a boot drive, you know, running like your Windows or whatever. And that's how I do it. My boot drive is small. Yeah. The boot drive I have is small because that's all it needs to do is boot up and operate whatever program I call. The rest of my storage is separate to that.
Yeah. Okay. And my problem is, and a lot of people's problem is, they just keep dumping stuff on their hard drive because it's easier or faster or quicker. Yeah. But I agree. But programs today, with all the number of programs that people are dropping on their hard drive, man, I noticed that the other day. There's a lot of space eaten up by all the apps, programs, and other stuff that I have on my computer now.
I think that's what Jay Kimmer was trying to allude to. Chuck. That's what I think he was trying to allude to.
So if you don't have at least, I'm guessing, at least a terabyte nowadays, and you're running all kinds of apps and everything, I'm not saying you need all that for the apps, but because people are going to drop photos or drop this or drop that on their computer as well, and not continue to clean it up, guilty.
You gotta do some maintenance on your hard drive. You can't just keep filling it up like that.
Yeah.
You got to figure at least a third of your hard drive ends up being apps.
You got to figure a third of your cost of your computer ends up being SSD storage now too.
Hey guys, I got to tell y'all something completely different about Chuck. My wife went back and watched some of the shows with Chuck, right? She said, Ron, he's absolutely adorable. I said, well, you're acting like he's about 8 years old. I said, what do you mean? She said,
I don't even know how to react to that.
Hold on, wait, watch this, Chuck. She said, his self-deprecating humor is so attractive and so much fun. He is such a humble, he calls himself idiot. He calls himself, she said, she listed about 4 or 5 words you use for yourself, Chuck. And she said that he don't mean nothing bad by it, but he's just telling you.
Yeah.
I'm human. Yeah. These are the mistakes I made. Yeah. And I'm just letting you know, man, that my family has been resonated. They like Chuck. Chuck has become a part of our family discussions.
And here I thought you all lived an exciting life.
We do.
Well, they do sell a Chucky doll, but it looks a little different than Chuck. And it has a knife in its hand.
Yeah.
That's the other side of me you all don't see until I begin to rant. Yeah. Well,
hey, Chuck, he's demonic.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
yeah. Have the Chucky doll, like Chuck just said. You have the Chucky doll, knife in one hand, holding a sign. I like to rant.
Yeah.
look at Paul Connors, Chuck. What he said.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I am self-deprecating. It keeps me out of a lot of trouble when people say, "But you said," and then I remind them. I also said I'm an idiot too. So why would you take my advice? So I'm giving you an out here. Take it, man. Take it.
That Chucky doll is just as tenacious as our Chuck.
Yeah. There are certain topics that'll get me there, no doubt about it. Well, tell your wife I love her and appreciate her comment.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My wife gets mad at me for being so
this-
self-deprecating. So
this thing about storage is so deep, important, man. I photographed a quinceañera about a week and a half ago. I backed up all the images just blindly onto 2 hard drives. I uploaded the images to a website for the clients to preview. Only half the images had uploaded. And when the client said, "Oh, okay, Mr. Pollard, Ron, I looked through the first batch. Where's the second batch?" I was like, "Huh? Second batch?" I said, "Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me I did this." I can't, boy, look. Chuck, I left that other event I was at. I came straight back to the computer. I was like, whew, thank you, Lord. They were backed up on my other 2 hard drives.
yeah,
They just hadn't uploaded to the preview site. And I was like, okay. Whew, whew.
That's what they call heart attack on a plate.
Dude, blood pressure.
Yeah.
Man, I was popping pills, man. Like, oh God, popping pills, oh God.
Yeah, storage is. I mean, I guess you could say there's a perfect answer if money's no object, but I mean, people have to try to figure out what works for them based on a budget. I mean, it can get really insanely expensive. I mean, if money was no object, you would get all SSD drives.
and that's what I want to talk about when we do this.
what I have.
On a long show is I want to go to that point because not everybody can go out and buy the best of the best. But how do we safeguard ourselves? And let's just we'll start at a point and say just somebody that just wants to keep their family photos to make it simple.
Yeah.
And know that you'll have those
That's
at
a
least
good
10
point,
years
Chuck.
Yeah,
down
That's a
the
good
road.
road to start on. You can advance it. That's a great point.
Exactly. And then tell me what do I need to do that? And that'll open it up for everybody that is just in that boat. And then we can go into all the myriad of things to talk about with storage, from the professional and then everybody else. But,
Right.
hey, I got Mike Farwell on the phone here. Mike, go ahead, buddy.
Good. Hey guys, how's it going tonight or this afternoon?
Hey, Mike.
good.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I got a dumb question for you guys that like to shoot portraits, and it probably doesn't make a difference with burgers either. But when you call the light gone, I was out last weekend just driving around this one park where I usually go out and shoot senior pictures and portrait tests. And you got to kind of keep in mind it was about 7:45. Sunset was coming early, but it was a cloudy, overcast day all day. The only way that you're going to really do anything in my book is if you can't reflect a little bit of light in the eyes. If there's no light there, you can't reflect back in the eyes. If you're shooting natural, the light's gone. So these 2 young girls they had 2 separate groups out. They were shooting some senior pics, and you got to remember I timed it. There was a 3-minute horizon line from the bottom of the clouds to the horizon. You had 3 minutes of light coming through. By that time, the shooting was done in my book. When do you call? When do you tell the client, okay, light's gone? If you're shooting natural, the light is going to go. These girls were keep on shooting. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to get taken to the bank. The images ain't going to turn out like crap because I've tried it. And if you can't get the eyes, if you can't get the light, it's gone. What do you guys think?
Well, as far as natural light goes, if the photo looks good and the only thing you're talking about is a catch light, now watch everybody cringe. Cheat.
Yeah. and they're going to go in.
Photoshop
and
is
they're
a
gonna mask it.
miracle. Photoshop is a miracle for dropping a catch light in somebody's eyes.
But what I was wondering, Chuck, is when do you guys, say enough ISO? Because I had my camera with me that night, and I checked it on my Z6 II, and it's pretty good on low light. But even using a 2.8 lens, which I don't think they were using probably kit lenses.
Mm-hmm.
I was shooting at my minimal to get a 200th of a second, which is the lowest I want to go on speed handheld. I don't trust anything like that. 200th of a second minimum. I was getting I would have had to pull 1,000 ISO. But there wasn't no light. I mean, as far as in my book, the light was gone. I love shooting flash.
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, you don't go back. It's just you can shoot any time of the day. As long as you can make shade, you can shoot any time of the day.
Yeah. So
where natural light, you can't do it.
So this is another rabbit hole to go down. I mean, everybody's going to have an opinion or whatever. If you're shooting fashion photos for a magazine spread, obviously you want nothing. You want no noise. You want everything perfect or whatever.
Right.
For a senior photo, let's just say senior photo. Right. You get a little more latitude because we do have noise reduction software now. And it works
people's expectations are a lot lower for a senior photo too.
Well, my point exactly, Jeffrey, is what are you shooting it for, and then what your tolerance is for pain, if you will.
Chuck. What I usually aim for, if I'm going to shoot a basically like maybe a 16 by 20 enlargement, So my noise is going to be limited. I've got to control that, and I like the Z6, a 36 meg file.
Well,
where the
So again, back to it depends on what you're shooting for, and Amar's going to jump in here in a second. I'm holding.
Just get a mini tripod like Ron has in his hand, right, to stabilize your hand a little bit more. If you're shooting ISO 1000, I was shooting 1000 like 10 years ago, right? I mean, you can shoot up to 6400.
Can you hear? Hang on a second, Amar. Can you hear Amar?
Yeah. So what I'm just going to do, Chuck, so I can put my headphones on. I don't want to have any echo and all that. I'm just going to let you guys talk about it, and then I'll listen from there.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
buddy.
thanks a lot, you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, this little
you
thing
need to take that Z6 to the next level, right? I mean, shooting 1000 ISO, that was 10 years ago, right? Today, I mean, 6400 on that camera. I've seen images out of that have been edited, like to Chuck's point with noise reduction software. You can't tell that thing is 6400, and you don't lose contrast or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Get a small tripod like Ron's got up there in your hand, right? And worst case scenario, pick up a cell phone, turn on the LED on that. It's enough to just get that little catch light in the edit it later, right? At least you got something if you want to stay at the 1000. But I would encourage you to just bump it to 2500, 4000 and just see. You'll be shocked.
Easily.
I agree. And to your point too, that you've made many times over, Amar, and if you're going to print, then that's going to make all the difference in the world too.
It's a real point if you're going to print. Yeah.
Yep.
And I just was going to add this. The reason I brought this out was because one of the people that I spent time in school studying was a guy by the name of Steve McCurry, who is a world-renowned, very famous photographer.
We'll talk about Steve McCurry here because Tony Northrup said that he was a pedophile. If you don't believe me, you got to go watch. So, by the way, he defamed Steve McCurry for shooting the Afghan girl.
Oh yeah.
Who?
And, Tony Northrup.
Who?
Tony Northrup.
Yeah.
Who?
So you heard that. So if you go back on my channel and look at the Afghan girl video that I made, against that, I had Bonnie.
Let me say it like this, Amar. Next, whatever. I watched him. Worry about no Steve. I mean, what's that boy? That dude, whatever his name, Northrup. I learned this. So I hear you, Amar. I'm just telling you Tony Northrup doesn't rate with me.
He was just messing with you with
I know
Tony Northrup.
he's being facetious. I know, and that's why I said who. But I learned with Steve McCurry as he was shooting so many natural light portraits throughout the world. I learned how to master this with my natural light portraits also. The ISO stuff is real, but what was the guy's name who called in just now, Chuck?
That was Amar.
Mike
Or no, I'm sorry, Mike Free.
Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, what I was saying is, Mike, this device between your heart and your camera will give you that added leeway, just a little bit more flex in your settings, okay? Just something this simple. Thank you, Nikon, for sending me how much this has blessed my work and helped my bank account. Just having this little thing, Jeffrey, between my body and Chuck and the shutter has made it's bought me a lot of latitude, as Amar's talking about. It's bought me a lot of latitude.
So one thing, Ron, that you bring up, that's a really good point, right? So back to old school, again, back to the basics of photography. And I think that's where you're really going back to the roots, right? You remember those flash guns we used to have? They used to actually have a separate handle on them. There was a reason why, because the sync speed on old cameras was only 1/60th of a second, right? Some of the higher end, maybe, I think, what was the F3? I think maybe the F3 was like 1/125th of a second.
Right, you had 1/125th was the next jump up.
And then it was 60th of a second. So that's why they had those handles. So what he's talking about is taking just something like a little portable tripod, holding it in your hand, one left hand on that, right hand on the shutter. Now you can be literally right at 1/100th of a second instead of 200. You got one stop advantage, at least almost two stop advantage right there. And then on top of that, bump the ISO some. You can get.
And what I'm saying, Amar, is when you are traveling in third world countries, Chuck, when you're traveling countries where you don't have all of the technology we have here, you got to make this work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're being paid, and D-Moods, they're investing in you to make this work. And with some of the photojournalism requirements, they don't want to see a whole bunch of, or any of that exactly, Jeff, any of that, a whole bunch of Photoshop stuff. Your stuff has got to be right and tight coming out of the camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can get away with you can get away with a monopod as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what I ended up buying, Ron? So I had one of those tripods, the Manfrotto Pixie or something like that. Anyway, the thing is that the legs come off eventually, and if you use it a lot. So I got this carbon fiber one. I can't think of the name of it. It was cheap, man. It was like $30, but it is so light. I can put it right in my pocket and walk around with it all day long. And I just stick it on the bottom, and bam, it's fun. And if you want to shoot some video, you can still hold on to it like it's almost like a gimbal,
Yeah.
So it should have that tool. It's a great tool, and that's actually a great tip.
So Michael's asking about that. Ron, you want to demonstrate that again real quick using that mini tripod, how you hold it? And
basically what this does is it gives you a device between your heart, your pulse, and it allows you to go down on your shutter speed, as Amar was saying earlier, and it allows you to have latitude so you don't have blurry images. Now, I can't recommend this for motorsports. I can't recommend this for basketball. But for people in nature and in culture, you put this under the camera, and you set your shutter speed. And what I've discovered for me is that 1/125th, 1/180th, maybe 1/100th. I'm pretty good at getting my breathing together and pulling out beautiful images that are sharp in the camera, and have come out to work for me because I've traveled so much, and I have to travel lightly. When you've traveled in some of these remote parts of the world, and you cannot have, you got to have all know-how internally, but this just gives you, like Jeffrey was showing, it gives you that brace, that one extra.
So I'm going to go back to
Like,
climbing. Keep 3 points of contact on the
I hope
rock.
that helps.
Keep 3 points of contact all the time on the rock. So what are 3 points of contact? Well, the camera, and there are a lot of techniques out there for that. But this is why I go back to the viewfinder rather than the screen. The viewfinder gives you 3 points of contact: your forehead, your eyebrow, or whatever, your right hand and your left hand. 3 points of contact. Yes. Talking about breathing and heartbeat. Heartbeat does show up in a photo at a very slow speed. It will, but I want to say this about the Z6, the Z6 II, and the Z9 with IBIS. Now, I find, and I'm not the steadiest hand in the West anymore. I find that with IBIS, I can actually go down to about 1/60th of a second if I'm really minding my P's and Q's. As long as I'm using the viewfinder, I can go down to a 60th of a second without any issue. Especially if I'm going to expose and use some ISO, and I'm not afraid of ISO anymore. New cameras have definitely helped out with that. And the fact that we have the third-party software out there that becomes amazing, because we're not talking, if it's dark and you're trying to shoot at 1/200th of a second, your ISO is going through the roof. But as light begins to fail, I find I can go up to 2400 ISO easily, 2600 ISO easily.
Way above that nowadays.
Yeah, with no problem. Because again, and here's the thing. One of the things about this is if you're afraid of it, then you just go out and teach yourself to not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Shoot in those light conditions.
An ISO 6000 image cleaned up with noise reduction software.
Yeah, we just lost your audio. Uh-oh, seat change. It's coming.
Yep. Amar's moving up.
Yeah. Amar, you're getting a better seat here in a minute.
Either Amar or Ron's coming up to the top.
Yep, here we go. Hang on a minute. He'll be right back. Here he is. All right.
Ronald's the lucky one. He got moved up.
So yeah, there are about 8 million answers to that comment or question you had, Mike. But just try and find the one that works best for you. Michael McDermott was asking, I think, about the tripod, how to use it, how to hold it. And Ron's been kind enough to show that.
There you go.
And the other thing, you have the camera strap on there. Put that around your neck and then hold it out there. And that's another steadying piece.
Yeah, you can. And I mean, you can do this. And my point being, as we were just discussing, it gives you that one extra brace between your body and the shutter, And I'm not saying it's and Chuck, you're right. It's not the only technique. It's a technique.
Yeah. And there are a lot of them. I mean, you can go the full gambit, go all the way up to the monopod that Jeffrey showed. But if you can't have all these devices with you, I'm saying just go out in the evening in the same light that you felt uncomfortable, shooting in, and shoot a few things and kind of experiment. Because again, with IBIS in camera now, it's fantastic. And even my shaky hand, I can still get a decent photo all the way down to 1/60th in lower light. So,
and you got to practice. And Chuck, you're right. You've got to practice your breathing, folks. You really do. People don't understand as a part of the craft your breathing techniques. I mean, Amar talked about it earlier, man. It's true. When you were at 1/60th with some of these older cameras, your technique had to be off the chains good.
Oh yeah.
It had to be.
And to Mike's credit here, he did say, he's all about flash. He's not opposed to flash. I think this was more in response to other people shooting with their cameras and having issues or whatever, and trying to maybe provide them with some advice. Yeah, older cameras aren't going to, you're just going to have to deal with what we had to deal with for years. But in the new bodies, if it's any of the Z series or any of the Canon cameras that have IBIS,
the,
Had to
the
throw
new,
that in there for Amar.
the new bodies and the new lenses and all that has changed the game drastically.
Yes, yes.
As far as how low you can go down, how high a ISO. I mean, it's crazy on a big lens. A big 500 millimeter, how far I can go down on shutter speed and shoot. Static birds as long as they're not moving.
Yeah, Ray just sent a photo to me to look at. It's a macro photo, and he's doing it all handheld. He explains here what he was doing, and yeah, it looks fine. It looks great. And macro is one of those things where, gee, he's trying to catch a bee still enough to take a photo. Good luck.
The thing is, like you said, it's spreading your feet apart enough, tucking your elbows into your body, cradling the camera, and don't be afraid to get a nose print on your rear screen. I mean, push it right up against your face, man, whether it be your eyeglasses or your eyebrow or whatever, and you get yourself locked, your body locked in. You'd be surprised how low you could go.
Yeah.
And if you're shooting wildlife, lay down on the ground. Just get down on the ground. It's going to help.
Unless you're old like me and you can't get up.
So several people have brought up, shooting techniques, breathing. Well, we'll just leave it at that. I mean, other things, you just have to develop what your hold is for your camera or whatever. But yeah, breathing, inhale, exhale, exhale half, and then you're calm and ready to take the photo. I know you don't always have that opportunity to do that, but I mean, I don't think we have to tell anybody, don't be breathing while you're actually taking the photo, but you're for a lot of marksmen, stuff, range work, they'll make you run the length of the range, come back, and then you have to fire. So, there you are breathing sometimes when you take the shot. Yeah. And Ray talking about how you grip the camera and yeah, absolutely. You heard it, everyone. Don't breathe. There you go.
Yeah, breathing is highly overrated.
Yes, it is. Stop breathing.
Just stop it. Stop it now. Don't do it.
And while you're at it, don't drink. And while you're at it, don't drink either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You drink enough, you might stop breathing anyway, right?
So, yeah. Where'd you go, Amar? What are you doing?
He just wants us looking at his logo.
Nah, he's busy doing something. That's why he didn't use video today.
He's cleaning his Mercedes. He's washing his car.
I thought about doing something like that today for the show, cleaning up the studio because I need to do it, and this would make me do it. Just digging all the crap that's sitting around, that batteries that need to be charged that I didn't even know I had. My Ronin gimbal needs to be charged. It hadn't been charged in 3 or 4 months. But anyway, all right. Photography 101, stop breathing. Yes. Now there's somebody's going to pass out since we said that.
Photography 201, go back and take 101.
It's like buying kits. If you buy the next package, everything in 101 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get Skittles. You buy this one, you get Skittles for free.
You know what, Greg?
You need a live sign behind you.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of those. I want that cheesy sign behind me. So
there you go.
That'll be something else. That'll be something else people can rag on me about when they send me an email. Why are you putting that cheesy on-air sign up? These are people that don't ever comment, but they'll drop by, listen for a few minutes at the worst possible time, and then send me an email about the 30 seconds they watched where, everything was going wrong.
You just need a sign that says open, and it says from noon till whenever, and then from 9 p.m. till whenever on Saturdays.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe's Pizza.
Yeah.
Hot pizza.
Photography
All right.
301. Don't try this at home.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They won't let it go, will they? They
No.
will not let it go.
Well, you got to put the disclaimer at the bottom that says results may vary.
Exactly. Hey. According to Tony Northrup, results may vary.
Vary, yes.
Oh man, you guys are great, man. I'm having a ball in here. You know, so again, going back to the number of people that are in the show right now. If you look, I don't know what's it say now, 42 watching now. At least that's what my screen says. Your screen may vary. But my wife was asking me again. She said, well, why do you keep saying you have more people that come through? Because on a 3-hour live stream, I'll have 100 people that'll come through the show. They'll be in here for a few minutes and then they'll leave, or they'll get here early. They'll listen to the first part of the show and then they leave, or they come in the middle and listen to the rest of the show. But I'll have at least 100 plus people that come through this show a day. The analytics only say whatever the high count was. They don't take into effect somebody like Greg, who pops in and out. I'm picking on you, Greg, because I know you do that from time to time. You have to, or whatever. But 42 people in here. I love the fact that we have as many people as we do that are in the chat. And I hope that a chat like today opens people's eyes as to what we can do in a live stream and talking about photography, all the different topics we've talked about already, and identified other topics that we want to talk about. I had to take this moment for self-promotion here. So if you're in here and you've never been in here before, we do this twice a week, and you're welcome to come anytime you like. Wednesday is the afternoon chat from 12 noon Eastern until the end. I don't have an end time. It just happens when it happens. And then on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and that's the record holder right now at almost 5 hours, 3 minutes shy of 5 hours. I know you're saying, what kind of an idiot would live stream for 5 hours? Well, you're looking at him. Okay.
Wait,
Mama, there goes that man
we go.
again. Call
There
him
we
an
go.
idiot. There goes
If
that
you
man
thi-
again, Mama.
There you go. And if you think that it can't be interesting for 5 hours, you need to hang in here with us sometimes, because it's not me here by myself going to 5 hours. It's all the guys you see on the screen or in the chat. And I'll just say this. They won't let me leave. I know that's not possible, but they keep my interest, and if I say I'm going to shut it down, then there's 15 more topics that come up that I can't refuse to talk about. So if you're into photography talk, I don't care what brand you shoot. It doesn't matter to us. We are somewhat Nikon centric, and I bash Nikon constantly for their marketing. You'll have to get used to that. I have my rants that I go on. You'll have to get used to that, but definitely jump in here with us and have a good time. Lots of
You know
topics
where
to talk
Chuck is
about.
coming from.
Yeah.
Chuck, they know where you coming from, but you all out. You're what we call transparent.
Well, exactly. And Jeffrey keeps the rant meter over there when I get going and take away from the show, because I'm just up here on the stump. All right. So if you don't mind, drop a like. It motivates me to keep coming back here and listen to all these people badmouth me. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely drop a like. It motivates me. And consider a subscription. Appreciate that too. All right. Commercial over. Thank you guys for putting up with that. I have to do this because my wife beats me up if I don't do it. I have to actually, what's the timestamp? Okay. So I can go back and find it and show her I did it, because she's going to ask and want proof. All right.
Yeah, I went over my neighbor's house the other day, and he was a commercial photographer, for a living, for a long time. Did a lot of stuff for the steel companies, and did a lot of advertising campaigns, and actually put together the initially had his own business with another guy, and he actually put together the preview for the, I don't know if you remember the Pontiac Fiero, which was like, I think the first mid-engine sports car that was made. Well, they did the whole show, and they had, I don't know how many slide projectors, and he took the pictures, and his friend was the computer guy, and they synced all these slide projectors. So an image would show up on the screen from one, and then it would fade out, and then another image from another projector would come on and then fade out, and switching back and forth. And this is how they had to do it in the old days. And but he did a lot of great photography. I've seen some of his work, and he saved some of the videos that were taken of the show. It was really, really good stuff. But anyway, I go over there the other day to show him that little monopod, the video monopod that I just bought recently, and he goes, "You want to know what I had to carry around?" And he goes in the back room, and he comes out with an old Gitzo tripod, gigantic, and the legs were all steel. And he says, I had a medium format camera on this, and I had it slung over my shoulder, walking around all day long. And I said, "Oh, that's why you lean one way."
Yeah.
But that tripod was I'll tell you, it had dings and chips in the finish or whatever, but that tripod could last another 50 years or more easy. I mean, it could take a beating. It was built like a tank, absolute tank.
Yeah, Gustavo, welcome back, man. Lunchtime. Great. All right. Yeah, well, we can all go into the old stories. I walked to school 5 miles in heavy snow, uphill both ways, and all those stories. But I'm one that wants to embrace technology. Back when I went in the Army, we ran in jungle boots or in boots, period. Nowadays kids can wear $500 running shoes and whatnot. But you know what? I'm not going to take that away from them. I had to do it, and that's just that. If I could have swapped, I would have. So, but all right. And did I kill the momentum with my
your ad?
Yeah, my ad. Back to your regular programming, as Charles said. I think I did. I'm my own worst enemy here.
Check you something else. Check your sense of humor, man. I was looking at Carol Burnett and some of the comedy with Tim Conway.
Oh man,
the old stuff, right?
That stuff
when
was the best.
Nobody could keep a straight face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes when Chuck does that cracks me up, man. Miles, man, he needs his own comedic moments.
I'm telling you.
He needs to tell photography jokes, man.
I'm telling you.
But I mean, Chuck, you crack me up the way oh my gosh, man! Some of the stuff you say, going uphill.
Well, you know who I am.
You know what? But what Jeff was saying. But to Jeff's point, man, friend Angelus, he didn't want to cross over from DSLR to mirrorless, and I said, dude, you 70 years old, and you're in good shape, but brother, it's all about being nimble today, man. It's all about being as nimble as you can and being as portable as you can while maintaining power, while having, being able to create. And so, Jeff, when I hear you talk about that, scares like the beavers out of me, because I know that's some heavy lifting right there, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, John, I'm putting your comment up here because I agree with you, even though I'm guilty of saying that sometimes. And you're right. Cheap takes on the wrong connotation sometimes when you're talking about something. Inexpensive is a better word. So you call me on that when I do that, man, because you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think we all do that.
Only use the word
without even knowing sometimes.
D Moose and Jeff, I'm sorry for that last comment. Only use the word cheap when birthday. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, fellas. Charles said that. I'm not a birder, so I don't. I do my best, man.
Well, the birds know when you're cheap. If you walk down the street and all the birds start going cheap, 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 well, they're telling you something, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. There's nothing cheap about shooting birds. That's for sure.
No, there isn't. Hey, I'm gonna leave this with you. Yeah, just a minute. I'm gonna leave this with you. I'll be right back. Anybody having a problem with the snap bridge on the Z9? I haven't even tried it yet, but
I'm with you,
David's
Chuck. I
asked
haven't
this.
even tried it.
David's
No, I
asked
haven't
this
even-
twice.
That I don't have a reason to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't use it
Exactly.
either.
That's me too.
I've never used it.
Tried to use it.
David, and I'm all the
Hold on,
time saying
I had enough.
you can get help here, but obviously I'm wrong again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've never had a reason to use it, so I haven't even messed with it.
I'm not a social media guy anyway. I don't try to dump stuff into Facebook right away or whatever, that kind of stuff. So I never use it. I just get home, pop my card out, put it in my computer, and start working on it.
Here you go, David. Mozman says he's used it. I don't know if you upgraded if you set everything up in the Z9 for SnapBridge and then you did the upgrade of the firmware, it's reset all your settings in your camera. Am I correct in saying that? Because I know there was a caution about doing it, and it reset all of my memory banks that I set up. So
it
I had to go.
Great on my Z6 too.
Yeah.
It worked great on my Z6 too, so I was good. I haven't lately needed it, but the Z6 II, Z7 II, it worked fine.
Yeah.
I like Greg's comment. But remember, we love all brands, Greg. We love everybody.
Yep. Yeah, we do.
Even if you use it for marshmallows, at least it brings something to the table.
Yep. And we know that the Z30 overheats because David. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. David did have a break.
He did have an overheating issue, but
it did.
The Z30?
It was because he was recording for 40 minutes instead
I
of
was recording and streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
What was he recording? What was his rate? Was he at 4K, 2K, 1080p? What was he at?
Actually, that night I had the camera in 4K 30 and was recording and streaming. And that after about 1 hour, it locked up.
There you go.
How long would it R5 to lock up?
Oh, I don't even know. But,
Well, if that's just changed recently too, because they took the restriction. They gave you the option in camera to go to high heat or, the camera had an internal, I guess, temperature control on it, and it would shut down. But maybe that was too conservative.
Well, I don't think the Z30 is made to record internally and stream at the same time.
Well,
that's not what it's made to do.
Right.
So does it do streaming, David?
I'm streaming on it right now. Yeah. What you're seeing me is a Z30.
You're using a Z30?
Yeah.
He upgraded from his Z9. He got the Z30. He upgraded.
You are a Chuck heretic. How in the world could you be using the Z30?
Yeah, he's convinced me. See, I'll go back now. He's convinced me that's what I need when I need to use all my Z6s instead of just a streaming camera. I need a Z30.
And I strictly bought this just for this. It doesn't even leave the mount. It just stays right here with my computer.
How does it work? How does it work for you?
Jeffrey, take
It's
over.
great.
Let me grab this real quick.
Perfect for streaming.
Okay.
And it's just a little kit lens that come with it.
Yeah.
Well, here's some comments that would get every.
Is it?
What's that?
Is it your new Z9?
No, not hardly.
Here's some comments that would get the pot going, as they say, questioning whether or not people will be disappointed if the Z8 doesn't have a flippy screen on it. I don't care as long as the quality is there and it doesn't break. If it's a half blank job and it starts to break, then they can't afford to have it break.
I very seldom use the screen for shooting what I do unless I'm getting really low with the camera Sometimes I'll use the screen to get real low with wildlife. And so as long as it kind of flipped, up to where I can view down on it, I'd be fine with it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter too much to me which way it flips around. That's really all I needed to do.
I would be more concerned about this with the Z8 for me, that the size be between the Z7 II and the Z9 more like an A1 size. That to me would be an absolute winner if it's not as big as the D850, but it's not as small as the Z7 II. If it could be something like an A1, because an A1 is not as big as a D850. Am I right, guys? Have y'all played with it?
Oh yeah, I've shot the
correct.
A1.
You're correct.
I mean, the A1 gets big when you put the battery grip on it.
Yeah.
But
right.
But just the body itself.
It's smaller than a D8, right? Dave?
I think so.
It's
yeah.
Smaller than a D850. It's smaller than a D850, right?
If you put the battery grips on both, your D850 is definitely bigger.
Just to clarify stuff here on the chat, let's consider the flippy screen one that turns around and you can use it to record yourself versus one that's a tilt screen that you use for getting low, or if you have to raise the camera up and you tilt it down. So let's just, for the sake of discussion, consider the flippy screen the one where you can rotate it so the screen is
facing you.
Yeah. So you can record yourself. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't need it to do that on the Z9 or the Z8. So
yeah, I don't either, and I personally don't think I'd want it because there's a reason why Nikon hasn't done it, and it's mainly because it's not strong enough, not robust enough, I don't believe, where they feel comfortable putting it in what they consider to be a pro body.
Yeah.
David, are you using the flippy screen now?
No.
Okay.
No, it's the flip screen's tucked back in. I've just got the camera's just dead straight in front of me.
So, in your experience, David, with the A1, did you ever talk about do you own one now?
No, I don't. I was in the process of getting ready to switch to either Sony or Canon because I've been a Nikon shooter forever, and I was getting fed up, waiting on a good mirrorless. And so I took a trip to the Tetons, and I took a R5 and an A1, and I took my Nikon stuff with me because I was familiar with it. But I was in the process of getting ready to switch, and I was really leaning towards actually going with the Canon R5, and only because I felt that the R5 did better. My experience was the R5 was actually better at staying on the birds for me, locking in on the birds. But right after that trip, I got home and all the switching kind of wore off, and I was didn't have a reason to switch right away. And then all of a sudden the Z9 came out or was announced. So I was like, man, I'm heavily invested in glass with Nikon. I'm just going to see what the Z9's all about. And so I didn't switch, but I was real close to going with the R5.
Are you happy with the Z9?
Oh yeah, I am very much. Yeah.
Are you as happy with the Z9 as you with the Z5? I mean the R5?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. My R5, and I was hoping Amar was still in here. I was going to ask him. My R5 is, when I was shooting R5, just in photo, I wasn't even doing video. That R5 was burning my hand just holding it, and I don't know if I just had
it was overheating.
It was hot. It wasn't like overheating. It never overheated, but the camera was just physically hot in my hand. And I don't know, this was when the R5 just came out. I don't know if firmware's corrected it or if I just had a bad camera. I don't know. But that was one of the reasons why I didn't end up really pursuing the R5, because I was like, I'm not going to sit here and hold this camera while it's burning my hand just taking pictures of birds. And
suffer.
Yeah, but other than that, I loved it. So I don't know if I had a bad camera or what, or if other people have experienced that. But it was great. I love the R5.
Hero Shots is saying his R6 used to overheat taking photos too.
Well, and like I said, it never overheated, but it was just physically hot to the touch in the hand.
Are you overjoyed with the firmware updates on the
Z9? Yeah, it's by far a better camera as it stands right now than when I first got it.
Do you think it's a better camera than the R5 and the A1?
I don't know. My experience with all of them, even the A1, the way I shoot, they all shoot pretty much the same. I could pick up any one of those cameras and get the same shot. Really, I could. One thing I will say, and I haven't shot an R5 for a while. I'm used to the Z9 now, obviously, but the only thing I'd say about the R5, at least when I used it, was it just felt stickier on the autofocus with what I shoot for birds.
Okay.
Now I haven't shot one for a while, and I don't know. I'd have to shoot them side by side again to see if the Z9's really. I love it. I don't have any issues with the Z9 at all. But like I said, it just seemed like the R5 was really sticky back when I was using it.
Chuck, may I make an observation, Chuck?
Sure.
On Monday night, I photographed a group called the Elevation Worship. They're out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Huge church, Pastor Stephen Furtick, right? There was a guy from Miami there shooting with the A1, and I had the Z9. He had his 7200. I had my 7200. We both stood up and we used eye autofocus, right? And I used the custom box number 2 because on stage you had like 20,000 people on stage, right? And it didn't make any sense for me to try to autofocus on the lead singer when they were like, really, they were like 7, 8 other people running in front. You know how concerts can be. The Z9 was unbelievably, stupidly good, ridiculously good. Because I told it I wanted it to be in this area. Because my focus was the lead singer. I sent Chuck and Verhagen a sample copy of the song. Of the footage, right? And the guy was shooting the A1, and he was like, "Man, which one are you focusing on?" I said, "The lead singer. Which one?" He said, "I'm trying to stay with the lead singer." I said, "But you have the A1. I need to." He said, I don't know. Out there on the chat land, I don't know. But he said, "Yeah, I need to really focus in and tighten up on him." I'm like, "I'm standing right here, Jeffrey, and I'm all good. I'm good to go." That's the closest I've experienced that experience with comparing autofocus modes and stuff like that.
Well,
so
this goes
why
back.
I asked you, David.
Yeah.
This goes back to, firmware updates. I mean, that mode wasn't available initially either. That came out of the 2.0 firmware update when we got the
2.0.
new. Yeah. So now, and to go back to that whole conversation for just a second, sum it up. Yes, the Z9 had its, and I'll say it just like, who was it here? Leon. The A1 had its niggles right up front, and then firmware updates, fixed that. Whereas Nikon did the same thing. And I think it's great that both cameras have done it. And on the overheating of the R5, unless you were shooting long takes, which most people aren't with most, I say most, I'm not saying all, most people aren't concerned with an hour and a half or 2 hour video in one take or whatever. But shooting some events, be it theater or whatever they happen to be shooting, yes, there is a need for a longer video take and not having to cut it right in the middle or something like that. So the R5's overheating was just, it came down to spec war kind of thing, most people are shooting no more than probably 15-minute at the most segments and building a video. And of course, you're never going to have a problem with that. So you know, we're going to go back and forth on this for a long time on, you know, was there any problems with the Z9 in the beginning? Yes, there were. Were there problems with the A1 in the beginning? Yes, there were.
Oh
Were there
yeah.
problems with the R5 in the beginning? Yes, there were. Has everybody resolved all those problems? Maybe not completely, but you know, firmware has definitely tightened the race on all these brands.
Hey,
No
you
doubt.
know, there's one feature of the A1 that I liked on stills, and that was on stills it allowed you to turn on zebras, so you
Yeah,
would not
yeah.
blow the highlights. I mean, you
There
know,
are there are
there's
workarounds for all these too, because you know
there is.
the fallback is this. We took photos. I took photos of my D4, D5, and I, you know, it worked fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it as easy as it is with the Z9? No. And you know, I don't care. Anybody can argue with me. If you're shooting in single frame, single point focus, yes, you can nail it. No doubt about that. That's what we did. But with the advent of this new AF that's in all different brands, it's definitely made things a whole lot easier for us. And then we
Yeah.
can talk about the specs. Well, mine does focus between frames at 20 frames per second RAW or
Yeah.
120 frames per second JPEG. Okay, guess what? Everybody else is going to have that, and you know their future cameras as well. Uh, I didn't like in the beginning because I was told I was crazy, not by anybody here, but some other people, when I complained about a couple of things about the Z9 because it just came out of the box, you know, fresh off the production line, perfect. And that wasn't the case at all. As a matter of fact, I got a little redemption. Jeffrey and I both got some redemption because we had complained about it jumping to the background instead of staying on the bird or whatever. All this is about birds, so don't anybody get in an uproar. If you never shot birds, then you don't have an answer to any of these.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
We'll,
know?
we'll
Yeah,
ad lib
yeah.
it. We'll ad lib. It was jumping from
Hey.
people to the background.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what was worse with the original firmware. What was worse with the Z9 was shooting birds on water. If there was any ripples, it jumped off the bird and would hit the ripples like it was the eye. It was horrible when it first came out for that.
So is it a
And
different camera
It
now?
liked reflections too.
oh, it's a totally different camera now, way different.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
But we
Different,
you
different
know,
as in better, David.
Yeah, different as in better. I mean, heck,
much better.
I don't shoot people unless it's family that often, but I was shooting my grandson the other night and I was having a lot of fun. I had the 70 to 200 on there, and at first I forgot to switch it to people mode. I had it in bird mode, and I'm like, why is it not getting on his eye? But then I quickly realized, oh yeah, dummy, got to switch that over to people.
That's a
And,
good point, Steve. I'm going to do that. Go ahead.
I had a
Dave.
blast with it. I had a blast with it, man, because it's amazing how it tracks.
Hey, David, I did something the other day that was so amateur and so crazy that it was so embarrassing. I was so upset with my Z7 II because I had a shoot, and I was like, "Why is this thing firing the flash? What's wrong with this stupid, dumb camera?" Man, I forgot to switch it to photo mode.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
you were
in
in
video mode.
video.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed, Jeff. I had to claim it.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on. I said, oh, how am I going to overcome this? Pull out the better camera. And I pulled out the
It's
Z9,
amazing.
and it
It's
was
amazing
not
what you'll
anything
do.
wrong with the 7 II. It was me. And I
Yeah.
forgot to switch the thing over. Hey, lady, I forgot to
Yeah.
switch the thing over to the photo mode. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Well,
it happens to all of us.
since I started doing more video now, I used to be just strictly photos, but with the Z9, I've gotten into a lot more video. I'll switch back and forth while I'm in the field, and I'll be in video mode, then I'll switch it to photo. And then while I'm in photo, I'll think I'm still in video mode and I'm hitting the record button, thinking I'm recording, not even paying attention that the red box isn't up. And I'm sitting there just going, man, I'm getting some good footage. And then I go, oh, crud. It's been in photo mode the whole time. It hasn't even been recorded.
See, Chuck, you're not the only idiot, Chuck.
yeah, well, you
Yeah.
know, and I think I may have mentioned this in a stream. Maybe I didn't, but when I was shooting Mia the other day in the studio, for about 3/4 of the shoot, everything was working fine. And I just happened to look down and wonder, why don't I have an eye box? What's
Yeah.
going on with the camera? Realized I was in animal AF.
Yeah.
But you know what? It never missed a beat, and it was fantastic. So
Hey,
I
you
just,
know what's funny? When I was with my grandson the other night, we were watching Disney's Tarzan, and I was just playing around with the camera, pointing it at the TV. And I had it in people focus. It would pick up on the cartoon people eyes, but not the animals. It was crazy. It was crazy. I could not believe it.
yeah, that's, so I attribute most of my failures to just me. But there are times, and going back to the trying to get the bird in focus on a branch with, brush or whatever behind it, limbs and limbs and leaves or whatever. And I would literally have to override the autofocus
Oh
to
yeah.
get it
Yeah.
to come back to the bird. And even then, I would let my finger off of the autofocus while I did that and hit autofocus, and it would jump right back to
Jump
the
back.
background.
Yeah. Oh, the
So-
Z6 2 and 7 2, they were horrible at that.
Yeah. But definitely now it's a marked difference.
Yeah,
But that's
it
what
is.
firmware's done for us. And,
Yep.
and I've said it before, when the R1 does come out from Canon, it's going to be a barn burner. I'm not going to be upset if it outperforms the Z9. It should.
I won't either. I'm sure
should.
it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree.
Because what that
And,
tells me is that Nikon then is going to go back to the board and do the same thing. So we begin this leapfrogging thing, which I'm in favor of. I like that.
Well, I
Hey,
guarantee
hey,
you it'll be
Chuck,
better, but
Chuck.
I'll also guarantee you it'll be in a totally different price bracket.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
sir. Hey,
Yeah.
Here you go, Jeffrey. Here you go, Jeff. Hold up
Yep.
your rant real quick, Jeff. Hold it
Yep.
up, Jeff. I'm about to set this up for Chuck. I'm about to set this up for Chuck.
Yeah.
This is why, Chuck, what you have said makes a difference.
Yeah.
All the doggone features in this Z9 need to be shouted from every mountaintop
Yeah.
across the world.
Yeah.
Man, when I was right singer for Elevation Worship, they couldn't tell that I was shooting. I had fired over 40, 50 shots
Yeah.
with that silent thing. Oh, and by the way, without banding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was like taking candy from a baby, Jeff.
Yep. I
It
know.
was like, are you serious? They're paying
I
me
know.
for this? Oh my goodness, Nikon. Come on.
Well, I knew someone that got an A1, and I said, hey, I don't disagree that I agree it's a great camera, but I just said to him, is it $1,300 better than a Z9? You throw a grip on the A1, you're talking a $1,300 price difference. You could buy a decent piece of glass for that $1,300, or at least
Yes,
a
that
good down
24
payment
that
on a piece
24 to
of glass.
120. That
Yeah.
24 to 120. You sure
Oh,
can get that.
I love that
Yeah.
24 to 120. That's a great lens.
Hey,
That's my next lens. That's my next lens.
It's an awesome lens. I love it.
I meant to come right back and talk about this. I just want to throw Long Rider. There he is. All right. Yeah. Worry too much about, who has a better camera, which is what I'm trying to calm down here a bit, Long Rider, because
I don't worry about it because they're
Yeah.
all good cameras. They are.
Oh,
but
Yeah,
I
they're
want
all-
to,
you
I want to
shouldn't
mention,
cry about anything you have.
I want to
Everything's
mention
great.
Long Rider, guys, because this is what this community that you all have built is this is what it's all about. I talked about my granddaughter wanted a camera now, and I'd been searching eBay or just trying to find something because I don't want to invest a lot in it until she shows me that, yeah, this is something I want to continue to do. And Long Rider stepped up and he said, I've got a camera that you can have. Anyway, we chatted, and just want you guys to know that's what this community does. After chatting about it, he's sending not just one, but 2 cameras. And I'm not going to talk about what they are or whatever. But the bottom line is he said, look, you can have these cameras. I even wanted to pay the shipping. And he said, no, don't worry about it or whatever. I just want to point out what a great guy he is. And there's a Sony shooter. All right. By the way,
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. And I apologize if people think I was bashing Sony. I'm just I'm not
No.
bashing them. I'm pointing out a matter of fact statement. And it's not a bash. It's just making a statement about cost.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the A1 is not as capable, you know, as a Z9.
Right.
I think they're
But
Yeah.
you know,
equivalent cameras, my opinion.
if somebody's invested in Sony lenses, though, of course, you know, maybe they're going to
Yeah.
make that next jump to the A1, regardless of
Absolutely.
price,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
because that's actually going to
I
be
think-
cheaper
I
in the
think-
long run.
So you did
One of my
trigger me,
favorite-
Ron. You did trigger me, you know, but I'm not going to rant. But the trigger is a bit different than what you might think, and it goes right back to Nikon marketing, you know. And right now, the fact is, and I know people say, "Oh, can we ever talk about anything other than gear?" But we're in a pretty emotional period right now with Nikon, and you know the rest of the year with anticipation of another body, be it a Z9, a Z8, or Z7 III, or Z6 III, and you know, taking it back, that's part of marketing, is showing that Nikon is filling out the line with this new technology, which they need to do. Throw the Z7 II and Z6 II away. They're great cameras, but it's not part of the marketing scheme right now. And we need the new technology in the newer bodies, and we need it out sooner rather than later. And, you know, we can't get away from gear, guys. I take note. A lot of people talk about it. I want to stay away from it. But right now, until Nikon starts to fill out that camera lineup, gear is going to be a popular subject. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
Two things I want to say, Chuck. Number one, you can be for something without being against something else.
That's
number
right.
one.
Yeah.
You can be for Nikon improving and doing what it's supposed to do without being against Sony and or Canon or Fuji or Leica.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Mhm.
Number two, my second thing is this. One of my favorite sports shooters is a guy that used to shoot with the 7.2. He's now shooting with the Sony A1 and or A9. His name is Al Powers. Powers Imagery. Phenomenal. Ridiculously talented photographer. Look him up in the chat, Long Rider and everybody else. So this is not against Sony. It's for Nikon. But what you hear us reacting to at times is the years of negative bashing that took place against other systems were doing the same exact thing. Or
Exactly.
worse, and they were getting a pass on it. So
Yeah.
nobody's against Sony.
Yeah.
No.
What I'm saying to you is,
Yeah.
this is for the growth and health and well-being of our chosen brand.
Heck,
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for Sony, the Nikon wouldn't be where it's at now. The Z9.
That's right.
I mean,
Correct.
And it's not because we use Sony sensors.
yeah, Sony Imaging and Sony Electronics are two different companies, though.
Two different things altogether.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, you know, I love aspects of the A1. I love aspects of the R5. You know, I'm sure that the Z9 still has a lot more in it that they're going to bring out with more firmware. It's got to.
Oh yeah. Because it's got a that's coming out. That R1, that firmware update's got to have some. It's got to have some kick in that R1 and that Z9 update. Because when that R1 gets introduced, it's going to be absolutely. Because why can't we get pre-capture in RAW? Why is it only in JPEG?
Yeah. When Canon just updated, didn't Canon just update the firmware where you can get pre-capture RAW now? I think they did.
Or
it'll happen. I'm sure they'll do it. I'm sure they'll do it. The camera can handle it. I mean, the processor can handle it.
That's what's exciting about it is the potential that it still has.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. And that's if you got the pockets for it, it's all good for the rest of us. If you got the pockets, if you can handle buying that extra stuff,
yeah,
go for it.
David, I'm gonna throw something at you. Not literally throw something.
I was gonna say, what are you gonna throw?
No. I had to send in my 500 PF for repair, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
After the discussion we had a few weeks ago, and we were talking about, has anybody had any lens failures? And then I queried, I said, well, what does an autofocus motor failure sound like?
Oh yeah, did
And,
you have one?
And I'm like, my lens was doing that
I'll
for
be
a
darned.
while. And I wasn't sure where the heck the sound was coming from, you know? It
Yeah.
would squeal, grind when I'm carrying it, not even shooting, just carrying it.
Huh.
So I just sent that back. So I'm using the 1:4, and I put the 1.4 telly on it, and I've been using that. And I'll tell you right now, I'm thinking with even with the 1.4 telly, for me, I got to look at the pictures closer. When I'm looking at them at the back of the camera, they seem a little soft. So I'm gonna
Well,
next time I go out, I'm gonna take that telly off, because I've used that 1:4 before without the telly. I don't usually use the telly, and
yeah.
it was sharp as a tack.
Hey,
I
Jeffrey.
put, you know,
Yes, sir.
I got Long
go-
Rider on the line. Hey, Long Rider, go ahead and make the same statement there, because I agree with you, and I'm sure everybody else is going to feel the same way. Go ahead.
Hey, fellas. I think everybody knows I'm the Sony guy in the room, and I watch quite a bit of YouTube. Seeing what's going on with different cameras. You guys know I'm in this chat pretty often, and I took a shot today with a 3-year-old RX10. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a 1-inch sensor camera with a built-in zoom. And I don't know if Chuck can show you that picture. I don't think anybody would argue that the Z9 is 10 times better than that camera. And I can get great shots with that. That's my dog walking camera, when I'm in the woods. Now, I also have an A9 with a 200 to 600. I have a 600 f4. And I'm pretty serious about wildlife. When the birds are in season here, I'm shooting 10,000 images a month. And even when I had good gear, my images weren't great until I started putting the time in, and it made me realize people that obsess about gear just don't know what they're talking about. I've seen images. There's a guy, Peanut Shoe Galleries. He's a very small channel.
Yeah.
He was a D6 shooter. He's got some good glass. He's got a 600 f4, the 800 5.6. Go look at the images and the video that he shoots with the Z9. It's as good as anybody else, including Mark Smith and anybody else. You look at his work.
Yeah, he reached out to me the other day.
So to obsess about which camera is better, it's so silly. It really is. That's a great, great camera, And I find this interesting. 6 or 7 years ago, I got back into photography after I'm 60 years old, after a long absence from it. And I went into B&H and I bought the A7R2. Now at the time, that was a very good image quality camera. And I didn't realize till after I bought it, boy, everybody on YouTube says the camera's slow, the camera's, and I had a 100 to 400 and I started shooting birds with it. And the images, I can show you images from that camera. And everybody on YouTube was saying, oh, that camera is no good for wildlife. And I had beautiful images mounted on my wall from that camera because I worked at it. I remember when the RX10 came out, I was looking for, like I said, a little pouch dog walking camera. And Tony Northrup did a review of it. And he said, oh, serious wildlife photographers won't use a camera like this. Well, that image on the screen you're looking at is shot with an RX10. Anything wrong with that image?
Not at all.
It's close.
I wish I could.
The bird looks a little fat. Only kidding.
Looks what?
Looks fat. The bird looks fat. He's just busting your chops.
So I wouldn't pay attention to anybody saying anything other than the Z9 is a top tier camera.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
and,
yeah,
and you heard my response. The bottom line is that, there are people that are going to be fanboys and there's absolutely nothing wrong with their brand or their camera or whatever. And it's not the case. Every one of them. And that's why I brought up, A1, better with firmware even. The R5 better with firmware. Z9 definitely. And anybody here that wouldn't agree, the Z9 is a different camera after firmware 2.0. It was
Well,
it was a
Chuck,
very
we
good
have a
camera
mutual
before.
friend that might disagree with us on that one.
Well, maybe.
Z-Wade.
Yeah,
Z-Wade was not happy with the firmware.
right. Yeah.
You know,
and-
I don't know if he ever. I don't even know if he ever figured that out. To be honest with you.
yeah. So when we get into this, though, as I was explaining earlier, Long Rider, it's just like anything else. You can take guns, for instance. We start talking about guns, brands, Taurus, Smith and Wesson, Glock, or whatever. Everybody's brand that they shoot is the best one. And it's just what maybe is it a man thing? Because we've been doing it forever. Cars, Chevy, Ford, Dodge, whatever, all these things. And I hope people understand when we're doing this for the most part. And I try to make sure that I keep it straight in the stream because I don't want anybody bashing another brand, saying things in jest or whatever, having fun. That's one thing. But all the cameras are doing a fine job, and to boot. And as I asked you, Long Rider, could we take this same shot with a film camera? And the answer has to be a resounding yes, we could.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got pictures like that with my D850.
So what is it
not
that
a
we
film camera, but
what is it that why do we need a new camera? Well, and you get me into my need and want rant here. I don't need the Z9 to do what I want to do. I wanted it. And somebody that buys an A1 or an A9 may not need it. They could carry the RX10, and you've proven here that it takes those photos and it does it. But maybe they just want it. The other thing is the convenience in the new technology that's coming out. To be able to shoot just like Ronald did at the concert the other night, to be able to shoot without hesitation and not worry about it. AF is doing its job. It's doing it for you. Just like he said, it's like taking candy from a baby. Those are good things. Do I need it? No. Did Ron need it? No. But it sure makes things a whole lot easier for us. And
yeah, that's the thing.
I think a lot of times people are afraid it's just going to take over. and you're no longer going to be a photographer. We can't take away from, the skill and the eye that every photographer has or should develop, because just a general photo, no matter how sharp it is or the color science with it, doesn't mean it's a great photo. It's composition, exposure, and all these things that we learned with all the other cameras that we've shot with. So yeah, I don't want you to think that, that's it's some kind of crazy. Well, there is some craziness that goes on, but I understand, that's why I say all the time, could I shoot photos with a pinhole camera? Yes. Could I shoot with my FE2 or FM2E or whatever it is? Yes, I could. Could I do it with my initial camera that I bought just to get back into photography, a Nikon D5000? Yes, of course I could. But all the successive technology, pieces that have come out since then have just made it easier to do. But it doesn't make my eye any better to identify what is a good photo. So, yeah, man. But I'm with you, and it gets overbearing sometimes. Not here, I hope, but it does get overbearing sometimes with people that just want to obsess over it, and that's when I got to pull the plug on it too. But
I was very lucky at a young age. I had some good teachers in my life, some good mentors.
Right.
And I've done a few things in my life where I've gotten like obsessed. When I was young, I was racing motorcycles,
Yep.
and I lived to race motorcycles. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't pay for a hotel. I slept in my van to make sure that I had the best tires,
Yep.
And in the beginning, I thought I had a great machine that I was riding, and I wasn't having a lot of luck. And a friend of mine who had been doing it for years looked at me one day and he said, "You know what's not right? Your mind. Your mind is not right.
Yep.
You're not focused on the right thing." And I think that's very true with photography. I see people worrying about, a piece of equipment and their mind is not right. And when you get your mind right, everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
that fella, Rev Ronald K. I looked at your photos, and they were so filled with emotion, and it was clear to me that his mind is right. You know, the photos that you take are beautiful. They're beautiful. And it has nothing to do with being a technically poor or good image. You know, you have your emotion and your mind is right, and it comes through in your photos.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, I studied some martial arts, and the same thing. Once you get your mind right, the rest of this stuff fades away.
You're right. And so many people have said that over and over, and I agree with them. You know, a new camera is not going to make you a better photographer. If you're a good photographer and you know your craft, it may help you in getting images that you might not normally get. And so, yeah, it's just technology as it leaps forward. We all want to grab onto what the new thing is. Some people don't. Some people don't care. They're going to stick with whatever they've been shooting, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we get into this: do you need it? And it's not about need. And this is where it really comes in. Again, I don't need. I just want, and I'm going to get the things that I want. Life's short, and I think you'll agree. And you know, if it's something that I want, then I'm going to get it if I can. But I don't need it. You're right.
Hey guys.
Go ahead, Ron. Ron wants to say something here. Go ahead.
I'm laughing because Grace of Westminster, Con and Becky have a coffee fund. Can we start a T-shirt fund for Chuck? I don't need it. I just want. Can we please start a T-shirt fund for Chuck, please?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, actually, I'm already talking to somebody about that, Ron. As a matter of fact, you know, I figured I'd get one just to wear on the show. I don't need it. I want it.
Grits are good. Grits are good.
Chuck, I want to say to Long Rider, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. God has been good to me. I'm blessed and humbled, and I try my best. Long Rider, I care about the people that I work with and the opportunities that I get. So that's what you're seeing. Yes, I have to be technically right. Yes, I have to know that. But what you're seeing is the behind the scenes stuff. All the work, all the prayer, all the study, all the hope, all the research that goes into photographing one human being. You know, whether they be famous or they be the average person, Dave, Jeff, and Amar, it don't matter to me. You know, because like you said, Chuck, I got a certain time on this earth.
That's right.
I'm doing the best I can. I want my work to stand long after I'm gone.
Can you hear Ron, Long Rider?
Very, very softly, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure you could hear. So he's just
thank you. I'm just saying thank you.
He's saying thank you.
Okay. Listen. God bless, guys. I just wanted to make that point because I see a lot of videos where people are looking at a screen and following that little stupid video game box and saying, "Oh, this one tracks better, that one tracks better." It's all a bunch of nonsense. Look at the images.
Yep.
You know,
yep.
When Verhagen and Mosman were shooting at the beach, the surfers, you know, the box wasn't always where he wanted it to be. That tracking box was sometimes off the surfer. But when you look at the image, when he showed it to you, it was a beautiful image.
Yeah,
you know, and that's all that matters in the end. The rest of this stuff, it shouldn't be important to us. You know.
Yep. Unfortunately, brother, this is what we go through in the photography community. You know how it is, and it doesn't mean we perpetuate it, but yeah. Go ahead.
When you consider it with their glass, you know, I would kill to have an 800-6.3. I would kill for that.
Yep.
You know,
it's nice.
They're going to do a lot of things, and they have done a lot of things that, you know, that Sony as a company just doesn't get. You know, there is something to you know, Sony not really being a long-standing photography company. They missed the boat on a lot of things, and you know, their technical performance is good, but there's a lot of things that Nikon and Canon understand that Sony doesn't understand. You know, and
and David brought that up too, talking about without Sony though pushing the envelope on mirrorless cameras, we wouldn't be where we are with what Nikon's producing now or Canon. So I'm not going to take that away from them. Yeah, there was a lot of people. There were a lot of people that, ragged on Sony early on, and there were some issues early on, but they were still good cameras, and they've obviously gotten better. Will Sony continue to do that? Of course they will. And it's I don't know how to put it any other way than I think that all the brands are good right now. I've said that over and over and over. There is no bad brand out there. And there'll be people that are, Fuji or Canon or Sony or Nikon fans that are going to disagree with that because they just want to push the brand name rather than push their photography ability. So, yeah.
Look at,
But no,
if you look at
I appreciate you bringing it up, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we need to get regrounded here from time to time.
Well,
David,
Really, yeah. You guys have nothing to worry about. Nothing compared to
Well,
other people, you know.
no,
what I think is
it's-
great. Look at the pictures that people shared, a few weeks ago on Chuck's channel. I mean, everybody, different genres, different types of photos, good mix of everything, and they're wonderful pictures. And
Yeah, I watch
not everybody
Jeffrey
was
Neville's
shooting.
videos.
yeah,
His
Pardon?
images are beautiful. He's got a good eye for composition, and he puts the time in.
yeah,
That's the other thing that, a Tony Northrup will never understand. He'll
Yeah.
never understand that. When you see somebody going down to shoot birds with sandals on, they're not serious. You don't go to a mosque with sandals on to shoot birds.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
No, that's
You
for
know,
making
I-
it.
I-
You mean a guy riding a motorcycle with bare feet isn't serious?
Yeah.
I only go there with my pink shoes. I mean, I wear pink shoes and
oh my goodness. Oh, Chuck.
yeah. Well,
this is
I mean, when
this
it's
is-
90 degrees out, I'm going to the swamp where the eagles and the ospreys are. I'm wearing rubber boots up to my knee. I'm laying in mud.
Yeah,
You're not shooting those kind of birds unless you're there all the time
right.
and you put the time in. Am I wrong, Jeffrey?
No, you're absolutely right.
100% right.
Hey, Chuck, to highlight.
I watched one of Fro's videos the other day. He's at a baseball game and he says, "Oh, I got bored after the fifth inning and left."
Well,
His
the
mind
thing
ain't
is, he
right.
always shoots whenever he's talking any brand of camera. It doesn't matter what brand. He's always shooting the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's a basketball game.
Well,
it's
okay.
a soccer match.
So
It's high
as
school
soon
football.
as soon as people
shoot some
understand
other
this,
stuff.
they'll understand why they do what they do. Guys, it goes back to they're
Oh,
professional YouTubers. They're making a living. They're earning money from YouTube. And you know what? It doesn't matter what content. They don't care how controversial it is. They're doing it to get you to watch it. And I'm not trying to steer people away from, I don't watch them. I don't go there. But my point is that they do it for a reason. And I doubt that. Well, I might have to take that back. I do think Tony may have a bridge to burn with Nikon for some reason. But my point is that they're doing it for the specific reason of earning money on YouTube. And it takes a lot to earn money on YouTube. So they'll do anything they can to drive up views or whatever. So I just write them off as idiots.
Well, that's my point. It's
Yeah.
fine if you want to use them as entertainment.
Yeah.
If you want to get a general idea what's going on,
Yeah.
but to use them as a reference for a decision on a camera purchase or a lens purchase, it's crazy because they're not serious photographers. They're
Right.
YouTubers, and
Right.
it's a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Chuck, I just wanted to say this real quick, Chuck. I mentioned Al Powers earlier. He's a current Sony shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at Al Powers' work over the last 6 months versus 2 years, and the skill set didn't matter which brand he used.
Yeah.
His skills were unbelievable. He shoots out of Las Vegas. A lot of wrestling, a lot of boxing, a lot of sports. You look at his work, everybody, and you'll see, and I don't even know the guy personally, I'm saying to you, you look at Bill Frakes. He was a Nikon shooter for 100 years. Bill Frakes now shoots Sony. But I dare you to find the difference in the quality of work of the craftsman more than the tool. So I'm saying that because I'm giving Longwriter his props. Between those two cats, man, I'm telling you, these guys are phenomenal. and they use both. They've used Sony and Nikon, and it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, just think about how many good pictures were taken with a Pentax K1000 back in the day, which almost everybody owned one of those.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is, Ron? I'll tell you something. I don't have the emotional connection to Sony the way you guys feel about your Nikon. I wish I did. I don't have that feeling. To me, it's like the screwdriver and a wrench in my tool set, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When it breaks, I go get another one. I have, you know, they don't have the history of Nikon and Canon. I understand why folks who use those cameras feel that way. You know, like Amar is a diehard Canon guy. And why is he like that? Because his dad taught him how to shoot on a Canon.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't feel that way. Like when people bash Sony, you know, I really don't care. I don't own stock in Sony. Sony didn't give me anything. They're not putting any food on my table.
Right.
You know, to me, it's just what happened was I walked into the store and I was kind of green. I had forgotten a lot of my skills. And I said, wow, this camera has an EVF. It's, you know, WYSIWYG. That's going to make it easier for me to advance quicker. And that's how I ended up shooting Sony. That's the only reason I bought a Sony, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you know, you bring up a good point, Long Rider. I mean, yeah, I'm invested in Nikon and there is some truth. The other thing is I just don't want to switch. Could I? Yes, over time I could. But am I going to take anything away from the other cameras? I wound up shooting Nikon and that's that. But it has nothing to do with other cameras are better, worse, or whatever. It's just a brand that I shoot. And do I want to see Nikon do well? Absolutely. But here's the fallback. A lot of people, and I know this, I've got to find this again. One of the Sony execs was talking about the fact that Japan wants all their companies, all corporations to do well. So Sony, Canon, and Nikon do work together. I don't care what people tell me I'm crazy, but I'm not saying that they share the same R&D room, but they do work together to make sure that all three survive, and not survive, but thrive. So I don't think there's near this rivalry that goes on between the three CEOs when they sit down for a beer that we have out in the audience, you know, as far as the consumers go. But again, brands are great. It gives everybody an option. Everybody picks the color they like, and then they go with that. You know, some people like a blue car, some people like a red car, some want a black car, some want a white car. It can be the same car, but then we get into the argument over the color. It's just human nature. It's what we do. It's up to us to manage it, though, and I do try to do that here. But there's no getting away from gear talk from time to time. And I hear this quite a bit from people about, you know, enough with the gear talk. But, you know, I guess I take a different look at it because I come from the I want mentality rather than the I need mentality. And yeah, I want the next thing that's coming out, but I don't invest money in everything else, you know, and at my age, I finally have there's a point in my life where I can afford to get some of the things I want. And that's why I get them. That's it. It has nothing to do with making me a better photographer. I don't know if anything's going to help that, but other than what you said, get out and shoot more. And I've told people to do that too. I don't take my own advice, by the way.
You know what?
I just stopped buying clothes. I just buy camera gear. I don't buy clothes anymore.
I go like my Osprey just came back, you know, and there's a spot that I hit. It's about a mile from my house here in New Jersey.
Yep.
And it's a marshy area that is kind of close to the ocean. So I get all kinds. I got eagles that have nested there for 6 years. And for a long time, I would go there for an hour.
All the way out there.
I wasn't particularly thrilled with the photos. And one day I said, I'm really going to, you know, buckle down. And I brought like some place to sit. I made sure I had water so I wouldn't have to leave. And I started sitting there for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. And boy, when you put that kind of time in, all of a sudden the birds reward you. You know, it's like, okay, this guy's serious. We're going to put on a show for him. And, you know, that's really what makes the difference when you're doing birds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay.
you got to put the
But see,
time in.
Paul,
So the other thing is
but
you don't
see,
do it out of misery. You don't make yourself miserable. You're not going out there to be miserable. It's the time spent is as enjoyable as the capturing a photo. Is that correct?
Oh, the eagles, the families that there's two nests in this area that I go, and I could sit there. Sometimes I go with no camera, I just go with the binoculars, and I just sit and watch them. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And my wife thought I was
see,
crazy because I would sit out back in my little waterfowl refuge. I can be out there for 3 hours, and I come in and she'll say, "Did you get any good photos?" Nope, never took one. Well, why did you stay there so long? Because it was enjoyable.
you
I
see,
spend $150 a month in bird food.
Yep.
Because I put up some bird feeders out back just to practice shooting fast moving birds.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have some shots of like blue jays and cardinals and different, and like you shoot those birds in the wintertime when you got snow on the trees and you get a beautiful red.
Yeah.
And it teaches you a lot about exposure and not blowing out your highlights. I think someone mentioned the zebras. That really, you know, has saved me a few times because, you know, when you shoot in the snow, you tend to see they're exposed.
Yep.
And to get the color right, I would advise anybody who's like just starting out in birds, put up a couple of bird feeders out in your backyard. You know, that's within range of the lens that you have, and you will learn a lot.
Yep. Yep.
I have to say this real quick, Chuck. I need to jump in and say this to Long Rider and everybody else in the chat. One of the things I have learned about Chuck and Bahagan since I have met, known, and been a fan and a participant with them, they've always tried to bring us together as a community. They have. They did not begin, nor initiate the toxicity that was rampant over the last 2.5 years or 2 years or whatever. These guys have tried to put a so Long Rider, with you talking about too much talk about gear, I agree with you 10,000%, bro. These guys have really tried to bring, and I haven't been to Jeff's channel yet. I don't know about Dave. I've seen Jeff's channel and David's channel once or twice. But I know all of these people in here are committed to the craft and the beauty that is this thing called photography and photojournalism. And that's what I plan on the channel. More building, community building, and more empowerment when we launch our channel, or as we get ready to grow our channel. Because I don't care what gear you use. I love me some Bill Frakes, man. I don't care what he shoots with. I love L Powers. I don't care what Annie Leibovitz shoots with. I like her work. Okay, I don't care. You know, Lindsay Adler. I love her fashion work. You know, so I'm with you, brother. And I just wanted to say that for those in the back of these guys have not been about toxicity. They have been about community building. And Long Rider, thank you for speaking to that, friend. Thank you.
Absolutely, Long Rider. Appreciate it, man.
And Ron, just so you know, most people can only put up with my channel 1 or 2 times anyway.
Oh, that's a lie. You're taking my shtick, man. The self-deprecation.
Jeffrey Neville reminds me of a shop teacher I had in junior high school.
Yeah. Oh man.
I had a shop teacher in high school, but unlike him, and I'm not picking on I guess I am picking on the guy. He was a carpentry shop teacher. I still have all my fingers on my hand. He wasn't so lucky.
All right, guys, I got to go make the donuts. Jump in the shower and get to work.
All right, brother.
Have a great day, and it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great talking to you.
Take
too.
care.
Thanks a lot, Long Rider. Take care, man.
You bring up a good point, Jeffrey. One thing as a wildlife photographer on YouTube, I guess don't upload benefit photos. I put up a video about the guns and hoses benefit I shot. It doesn't get the views that the bird one did. I don't know why.
Well, yeah. you know what's sad is if you, and I did this as an experiment and I don't do it on all my videos, but sometimes I'll say, the subject matter, and I'll say, with the Z9 and the 500 PF. Any video where you mention the brand will outdo anything where you don't mention the brand. And that's sad because the content isn't any better. The content is not different. The content is better.
You're right. You're 100% right, because my videos that have the most views are anything that I've put the word Z9 in and whatever lens I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. And here's something that a lot of people don't understand is, maybe that follow you. Is there a lot of people that are searching YouTube looking for answers to certain things, or to see how it actually works, or how well it is, or whatever.
And that's really all my channel was really about. What, those videos I put out is just, hey, here's the Z9. Here's what it can do with the old 500 PF. Here's what it looks like with the new 800 PF. It's stuff like that. I'm not bashing any other brands during it or anything like that, because I'm not about that. I'm just about showing you what this can do, with
I'll be right
just
back.
as
all right.
Just as an everyday photographer,
So Mozman drops this comment, and I agree with it 100%, because I look at a photo. It's not the first thing in my mind is not, well, I wonder what camera was used. Although usually nowadays everybody's dropping all this, the camera, the lens, the settings, and everything else. But that's not the point. That's not what grabs my attention. What grabs my attention is whether I like it or not. And I'm going to spend time actually looking at it. You're right, Mozman. But we do get attracted when we find out that it is your brand, whether it's Sony, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, or whatever. And it kind of, there are people that want to go brag. Look at this photo. This guy shoots OM1, and this is a fantastic photo for OM or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of it.
It's a shame that you have to do that at times, because I don't want it to be about the gear.
Right.
I want to just get you off your couch and go out and use whatever you have. I don't care what you have. I can't emphasize that enough. And it's just kind of sad that it's like, oh gee, as soon as I mention the lens or the brand, then I get more clicks.
Greg, I hear you, man. And just like this, I get people that subscribe. I get people that unsubscribe on a regular basis. It's just a rotation now. I'm kind of stuck at this right now. And that's okay with me. I don't know why they subscribe or unsubscribe. I just hope that the people that do come down, and sit in, enjoy it. That's it. That's it, period. And that's what you got to do it for. You got to do it for the love of what you're doing, unless you want it to be a job. And then there's a different approach to take. Just get ready to take some hate with it, But I know what you mean. Here's a good question.
When I look at pictures, like, I've been on Ronald's site quite a bit, and if I wouldn't know what he's shooting, I don't look and say, God, I wonder what camera he used. But it's because his images are just spectacular to look at.
And
I've been on it this whole time, just kind of looking through.
And I'll say one thing, right? I mean, I didn't want to say very much while Long Rider was on, because I wanted him to have his moment, right? I met him when he first started, and it was a different world, right? He had a very different mindset when we first met, right? And what he's talking about today, big time. And his images are speaking for it, right? So he put in the work, right? It's not, you can only guide someone so far, but the work has to come from the one that really wants to learn, right? So like they say, there are no bad students, there's always bad teachers. So, I'm a firm believer in that. So, I think he embraced sort of what he had, and then eventually it got to the point where, so he would argue with me, Sony this, Sony that, Nikon this, Nikon that, Canon this, Canon that. I mean, but he made a very profound statement today on this call, which is, he has no attachment to it. He has no history with photography like I do, like Ron does, and like Chuck, like you do, for example. I don't know the history of your, for example, Jeff and everyone else that's on this panel. It's I only know, I can tell based on I can visit many websites and I can go through it very quickly. So like you mentioned Lindsay Adler, right? I've known Lindsay since even before she connected with Canon, to become an explorer light and things like that. And same thing with Vanessa Joy, and same thing with Arthur Morris and these guys. These guys are freaking legends, right? So all I'm saying to you is there is a reason why people have hung around. Like I see so many people writing here, "Oh, my channel is not for everyone." Do you really want your channel to be for everyone? You don't, right? You don't,
No.
because then you attract things that
you don't want.
And I'm a firm believer in this. My dad used to always tell me, you will only attract your own kind. You will never attract anything better or anything worse. So if you go down a path of being belligerent, crazy, and all kinds of things, those are the kinds of people that are going to hang out with you, right? Because they relate to you. So the relatability is very important. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm very proud of where Long Rider has come. He's come to a lot of realization into what he's really good at now, right? And how much work needs to be put in. Initially, he would, send us pictures, Max and I, you all know Max, and we would always tell him, "Yeah, nice shot," right, and just leave it at that, right? And he one day came to us and said, "God, man, I've been sending you really like shitty images for so many years, and you guys just said nice shot." I said, "Well, you don't know what you don't know, right? So you can argue to your blue in the face, but now when you look at his images, he has evolved so much himself, right? Because he put in the time, right? Yeah, we can tell him and show him things. Okay, try this, try that. Do it." So he wasn't kidding, guys. He goes out there and spends 4 hours in those spots. He actually does it. You know what I mean?
He's enjoying what he's doing, and that's really the key.
Well,
I guess if you could sum all this conversation up into one phrase, it's just enjoy photography.
That's right. And spec sheets, you can never enjoy spec sheets. Spec sheets are what the wars. That's where wars are. Wars are started in photography.
If we could have this fun talking about specs and whatever without all the personal attacks and everything, I think that would be fun as well. Unfortunately, we can't.
But it doesn't go. My camp is better than your camp, and that's because we have this ownership thing that we own Canon or we own Nikon, and all of a sudden freaking Nikon CEO is going to come dine with us. It's not going to happen, but we really believe that.
For any of us that think this is new, you're absolutely wrong. As I said before, it's been going on since there were different makers for different items. People chose their whatever brand and they stick with it, and then they want to support it and talk about how much better it is and everything. It just makes people feel better. Maybe.
Can I answer this question that you have?
Yeah.
Right. And from my perspective, right. And this is someone that is not, I don't want to say brainwashed, but into Nikon for so long that I don't see anything else outside of it.
Right.
In those two cameras, if I were to buy one and hang out with my friends, I would have a ZFC. Because it's freaking cool looking. It looks cool, takes awesome images, and it's got its own built-in EVF. I'm an EVF type of guy, but if you don't need that EVF and you're cool with holding the LCD like 3 feet in front of you, then get the Z30. But the ZFC.
I was just going to comment and say exactly what you just said, so nothing more to say. It's a no-brainer to me. I want an EVF if I'm quote-unquote going to take a photo. I don't want to be pretending I'm using a larger cell phone.
And plus, it looks nicer, too. When you're hanging out with your friends, they look at that retro look. They're like, man, this guy's the man right here.
It's got a great nostalgic look to it. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's
I wanted to tell D Moose, thank you. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for what you said earlier.
Not a problem. It's 100% true.
Thank you. I have a question about the question that Amar just answered, in the Z30.
Yeah.
Is there anybody can get a side-by-side picture comparison of them? Because and is the autofocus system the same in both of them?
Good
I
question. I don't know.
I think it's very similar. Actually, I think it's very similar
Yeah,
because
they did not flow down Z9 Tech into the Z30.
right.
So I would think it's similar autofocus capability.
Speed 6 in the Z30 or Speed 7?
Oh, I was talking. I thought you meant ZFC versus Z30. I think they're pretty
Yeah. I
much-
mean, which one has the Z? Are both of them Speed 6?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed to know.
Here you go. I think Steve sums it up real well here too, talking about when you pause an image while scrolling, the person that look at it has done their job. Yeah, don't need gear description for it. It's nice to see after the image, sure. But yeah, I agree with you. If the image catches your eye at that point, you probably don't care what actually shot the photo because it's done its job. It stopped you. There's something about it that you like. And isn't that what photography is? You want people to just like what they see when you're putting it out there. Hey, let's not hide the fact that we enjoy, there's a little pride in all of us. We all enjoy when people are enjoying our work. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's like enjoys when somebody enjoys their food.
Yeah.
But what shot the
Exactly.
camera is the person behind the viewfinder. That's what shot the That's what shot the picture.
So
Yeah.
I'll share one more insight, right? He shared a journey with you. He didn't share a moment of something he picked up on a spec sheet, where walked into a Best Buy and going rah rah. Oh, look, my 30 frames per second. Screw you. This. He didn't do that. He talked about a 6-year journey of how he matured to where the heck he got. Right. And today he very easily can, send you a picture. Here, share it with the whole world. I don't care. It looks good and I'm proud of it. Whatever. He's at that stage. So we tend to forget about we are always looking for that destination without actually enjoying that journey. Like the journey, the destination just becomes a bonus at the end of the day.
The other thing is, though, and I want to make this point real quick because you know what? Everybody has their own reason for doing whatever they do. And why all the shaming? We still want to shame people because they want new or they want this or they want that. Why that?
Yeah.
As a community, let's quit doing that. Let's quit shaming people because they want a brand or they want a certain focal length or they want whatever.
Right.
If we want it one way, we got to have it the other way as well. Quit telling people they don't need something.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if they invite that opportunity, then absolutely, you can go down that path. But most people know what they're getting into or whatever. And I'm just not going to be one of those people. Do you really need that?
But Chuck,
Yeah.
you have spent years, Chuck, have spent years reflecting on life issues and on values.
Right.
You are there, Chuck. A lot of people are not, but I mean, and that's to your credit that you are free that way. But think about it, Chuck. You are a veteran in this life, and you have spent many hours and many years thinking about decisions, what's important and what's not important,
Right.
and why.
Yep.
Chuck, that's where you are, and I salute you for that. And I shouldn't feel like you feel, but I respect where you're coming from, because when I hear a veteran talking like that, this is a man who done a lot of reflection in his life, and then traveled a whole bunch of places.
That's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of wisdom.
So yeah, and so this is a brother, a lot of respect for that. And here's a brother saying, life is short, man. If you want it, and it ain't gonna hurt nobody, you ain't gonna do damage or nothing criminal, go get one.
So I'll give you a real life example.
That's where you've reflected, Chuck.
So Ron, I got a question for you, if I can ask you a question. If I could give you one lens, forget about the camera, just one lens, and I give you, let's say, I'm going to pick a pretty famous person, right? Let's say I give you John Travolta to actually photograph. If I use other names, people will be like, who the heck is that? So at least if you don't know John Travolta, then I don't know what to say, right? So
He said, I'm lost. You say, I'm lost. If you don't know who that is, I'm lost. I don't know what to do.
Just got to do the pose, man.
if I give you John Travolta and you had all of the lighting that you needed at your disposal, and you could pick only that one lens, what would that lens be?
You know what's unfair about that? Because my mind went to two lenses. The 70-200, 1A, and the 85 and 85 1.2.
Pick one.
1B.
Pick one.
85 1.2 if Nikon had one.
Awesome.
Easy. Easy. All day, every day.
So let's say you pick the 85 1.4. Okay, we'll forgive you that you used a little bit higher ISO. It's okay. And I'm talking about actually shooting a headshot for him, right? I didn't give you that information. So you're probably going to be shooting at f11 or whatever, right? So it doesn't matter if it's 1.2 or 1.4.
Mm-hmm.
You don't look the damn same. I don't really care what brand it is at that point. It's a mute point.
If I'm in a studio?
Yeah, if you're in a studio, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you ask me the same question, my second choice would be 85, but my first choice would be a 135, a big studio with a 135.
I almost went there. But keep going.
Because for me, I just love how people look with the 135. And a lot of people are like, oh, but you need to get the sharpest one. No, I don't need the sharpest one.
Not when you're shooting F8, F9.
Yeah.
Oh, if anybody cares, mine would be a 24-70 because then I have the latitude to do a whole lot of different things, not just a headshot or whatever. But anyway,
I prove my point with this conversation, right? We have three different distinct views of shooting John Travolta.
Yeah.
Now you tell me which one is right, which one is wrong.
Mine is, of course.
It's wrong. Yours is wrong.
Like that answer? No, there is no wrong answer. Got it.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, but to what end are we, applying this? And just the fact that we can't ever agree, and we need to learn that we can't, so we need to accept what other people want to use.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
Hey, Steve, I wish we could all get together. We're trying to do that. It's just tough. Everybody all over the US, and we got people, from Europe and everywhere else too. It would be great if we could just somehow make that happen. This is the best we got right now. And that was, again, going back to the intent of this channel. This is what we have. There's a big round table for everybody to get in here, chat it up. And oh, by the way, Greg Wilson, self-deprecating is my shtick. Okay. You can't be using that about your channel. All right. But yeah. And there's so much. Look at all the experience here on this panel.
So look at what Long Rider just wrote. This is something that Max and I used to push so hard. We started Passion and Mastery of Light. We have about 1,200 photographers on Facebook. You can't get in unless you get invited.
Yeah.
Want to be part of it?
Oh, it's fun.
Send your thing in. It's called Passion and Mastery of Light.
When you ask about
is that on Facebook?
It's on
favorite
Facebook.
Lenses.
Yeah, and what he wrote there is it was our thing because everyone wanted to talk about gear. It's like don't show me your camera, show me your images, show me your shots. If you don't have shots, I don't care how good your camera is. I don't want to know because it means nothing to me. And what you'll find there, Ron, once you get there, you'll find a lot of folks like yourself on Passion and Mastery of Light. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Chuck, may I ask a question?
Please, sir.
Okay. Amar, Jeff, David, everybody in the chat, one of the reasons, if you ask me if I could choose my photography genre to do without getting paid, David, if I didn't have to do headshots to make a living, if I didn't have to do concerts to make a living, Jeff, if I didn't have to travel Africa to make a living, it would be photojournalism in various cultures around the world.
Nice.
Chuck, and I'm saying that because that's what drew me in. I'm sorry, y'all. It wasn't birds. I'm sorry. Wildlife. It was. I'm sorry.
upset.
It was people. It was watching people on Nat Geo / Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom / you know, all of that old school stuff.
Right.
That made me, Chuck, want to be with people. So as a boy growing up in New Orleans, watching folk in the Middle East, watching folk in China, in the Far East, man, that's the kind of stuff, Chuck, that just turned me on.
Yeah.
That's what got me high. And the love, the craft, the image. My brother came home from Vietnam. I told you this, Chuck. My brother came home from Vietnam and he had pictures. And at 5 years old, I said, hold on. You can take a picture of somebody's memory? Not false expressive. That's memories.
Yeah.
On a picture.
Yep.
And so for me, what Amar is saying is real. We have to draw together because of our passion, Chuck. And yes, sometimes our favorite brands deserve a little spanking. They do.
Yep.
Because there's a world of us out here that they don't even see.
And I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
There's a world of us out here.
If I can read something, if I can read something here, Chuck, because I don't want to make it up. I'm going to actually read an email from a client that actually reached out once they saw my actual post on being a canon.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Hang on just a second. I want to thank Luis P, who's in here. Thank you very much, sir. See, these comments, I don't need my head to swell, but it gives me drive to continue to do it.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, I want to bring out another point real quick. Oh, Frames TM's in here. All right. Another point is I challenge, and I'm defending myself here is what I'm going to do. I know that I can't produce content that everybody likes on every live stream, and it's just impossible to do. So if I talk about gear from time to time, if I were doing nothing but videos, you might see one video a week, maybe, or maybe one every 2 weeks. And it's easy to have topics when you do that. But as far as a live stream goes, how do you capture what we've talked about today in a live stream title? And I challenge everybody that thinks, well, it would be easy, then come up with 8 of them a month at least. What are the topics and what are you going to talk about? So I get a lot of, and I'm not going to say criticism. I get a lot of people that are just suggesting, and I understand that. But, and I'm, this isn't out of frustration or anger. I just want people to know where I'm coming from. This is a brand new concept. I can't find it anywhere else on YouTube. That's a constant, meaning, the live streams and when they're going to be on. And I've had a lot of people try to help me with titles for the live stream or for the reminder thumbnails or whatever. And if you guys got any suggestions on how I title it, I'd be open to that. But right now, there is no way other than saying on a certain day, we're going to talk about this. But as you guys know, if you've been a constant here on the channel, no matter what topic I start out with, we're going to talk about everything under the sun in that live stream. And I just don't know how to title that for a catchy, if you will, not clickbait titles for these live streams. So I appreciate that, Luis. I really do, because it motivates me. It keeps me going. I'm having a good time, and comments like that make it all the more pleasurable. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Amar.
Ron, I'd like to. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Jeffrey. You go ahead.
Now, Ron, I was just going to say one of my favorite photographers, who I'm sure maybe never met him. I've never met him. I wish I could meet him. Is Art Wolf. He has probably captured more indigenous people than anyone in the world. He has taken pictures of tribes that no longer exist in his long career, of which many of those years were with National Geographic. And if you want to see pictures of people in locations and tribes and places in the world, that in some places where these people don't exist anymore, you go check out his webpage, and he's
Based out of Seattle.
equally well known for his nature and wildlife photography as well. But his work with tribes and unique locations in the world is just second to none.
Fabulous. He's fabulous, man. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. He's fabulous. Chuck?
Yes, sir.
Back to you, Chuck.
No, we're waiting for Amar.
Oh,
I was just waiting for Jeffrey to finish.
No, I'm done. I just wanted to, I'm sure he knew who he was, but I didn't know if he knew the breadth of his of the content of what he's done over his career or not.
All day, every day, man. Been following him for 15 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy writes an email. So he writes, I'll tell you, I'm currently out of the state hospital recovering from lung cancer, right? So this guy is. And my mom's celebrating her 79th birthday on the 29th of September. I have not seen her for a year now. So I'm planning to make her a surprise birthday. So I would like for you to give me a total cost of what it would be for 4 hours, this, that, and the other. And then he goes to break down as to, these are the very key things that I want you to photograph, these 5 things, right? Because, he's probably, he has cancer, she's getting really old, that kind of thing. When people send you these kind of things after looking at your work, all of this BS that we do and going after each other for cameras, those kind of things actually make me more upset today that society has become so freaking shallow. I can buy any damn camera that I want, no matter how much it costs. It doesn't matter. But that means nothing as compared to this one email that this guy has just sent me right now. Going and doing this as a pro bono for him, for his mom. But how many people can do that?
That is success, Amar. That's success. That is success.
Yeah.
See, that's making a difference. That's why Chuck, Bahagan, and whoever else is doing these YouTubes and doing these live streams, that's what we're after. That's what the people will rally around. That's success. I'm sorry, Chuck.
No. It is. I agree.
Together, I'm going to send it to him. It's going to be in Baltimore, not too far. So at least it's not out of state or anything like that, which is fine. So it works out pretty good. We'll go see what we can do for him. But those are the kinds of things that actually warm your heart, because these are people that have checked you out. And I'm sorry, but I don't care for any other brand right now. Canon has this service where they run your entire background, they vet you, and they put you in front of their clients that are really looking for a photographer. I'm sorry, but Nikon, Sony, because there are so many incredible people that shoot their brands. And if people trust the name, if they say it's Canon vetted, they ran their background and this, that, it's not a pedophile or someone like that, or a criminal just out of jail, that type of thing. It's a long process. It takes about 2.5 months to get on, right? And go through every check. And then you actually get certified that you're good to go. And then it actually says, they can come back and check every so often to make sure that you haven't, been behind bars for something crazy. Because they're putting their name on the line. Say, we've checked these people out, they're legit, they do work with us, and here you are. Give them a call, give them an email, whatever. So I think those kind of things actually humbles you to know that people are at least respecting sort of the things that you're doing out there. I shoot birds for fun, guys. I hope you guys know that.
I shoot everything for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bird stuff is more for fun, but this kind of stuff.
I'm not like you professionals and make money from this.
Oh, yeah. If I had to rely on this for food on the table, I'd be in a big problem. I'd
It
have
would be hard,
trouble.
right? It would be hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
very hard.
Bert
Food
is
on the table? Are you kidding me? Just to pay for the electricity to run the computer?
I'd be eating a lot of peanuts.
Yeah.
Or robbing airline inventory.
Yeah.
Hey, let's. I'm gonna break it up here for just a minute. Man, so many good comments in the chat today. Of course, I missed half of them. If I missed yours, sorry about that. It's just almost impossible to keep up with all of them. That's because I like to run my mouth too much instead of spend time looking at the comments. For you guys that are in here as guest hosts, and I hope you do, but always check the comments if you will. A lot of them may be directed to you, and by all means, chime in and answer those, or just any comment you want to address. I understand, and I've been down this road. I do the same thing when I'm on Vahagen's channel. I don't like to, it's his channel. He's going to talk about what he wants to talk about, and I'm okay with that. But here, I just want you to know that it's our channel, and you guys, you're on here for a reason, because because you're the only ones that'll accept my invitation usually. But no, I'm just kidding. that was terrible to say, wasn't it?
Oh boy, this is my last visit. This is my last show. That's it. I had it.
Yeah. But yeah, open it up, and you guys can definitely watch the comments. And Frames asks a question here. Has anyone heard about the man in the arena speech? I have no idea what you're talking about, Frames. And the only way I'll let anybody talk about it is if you jump in here with us. There. I'm going to find a way to get you in here. So
I did watch RRR. Yes, I did, Frames. I watched it twice. It's amazing. It's on Netflix, y'all. It's an Indian.
Did you actually like it?
I did. I watched it twice. My son watched it again yesterday with his girlfriend. I loved it, man. Oh, I loved it.
I'm gonna comment too.
Amar, I'm a very eclectic guy. Amar, we've dealt with so many people from around.
You don't have to tell me, man. I checked out your site. Weird, like even when you're on a website on a computer looking at someone's site, it starts speaking to you after a while, and then it's about Ronald, right? And I'm sitting there reading through it. I'm like, this guy actually, if I would have met him 30 years ago, we probably went down very similar paths at some point. And thanks to Chuck that we both are sitting here actually even talking to each other right now. It's just too funny.
Chuck is the galvanizer, man. Chuck is the galvanizer.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you all see it that way. I see it as being selfish. I get all the people to come in here and do my work.
He's a reuniter. That's what he is.
I'm not singing that song Reunited. Not doing
you ain't look. I ain't Peaches and you ain't Herb.
Let me get Vahagen to play the drums. Hang on.
There you go. So somebody asked about Vahagen. He's busy today. So
he still texted me. He wasn't that busy.
Called out live.
Man. Amar comes in and dimes him out.
Ooh, I felt that knife in my side.
And I ended up talking to Vahagen yesterday for like 2 hours, and it was like a weird conversation. It was all about like just our history, where we came from, and he was.
You're not making it any better, Amar.
He was talking about
damage is done, baby. Can't make up for it.
Hey, David. These guys are amazing, man. I'd be telling my family about these conversations. I said, y'all got to hear this stuff. I'm not making this up. You got to hear it.
I tell my wife watches these, and she's in awe at what we talk about and all the stuff.
So the other night,
when we drive down to Mobile, the other night, our kids. We'll watch this. It's like, man, these guys are crazy.
Ron, you're going to find this hilarious. The other night, I was putting the little dude to bed, right? And it was probably around 10:30 Eastern. For him, it's only 8:30. So he goes, "Hey, man, call me when you're free, even if it's late. I got to ask you a question." So I call him the next day. We ended up talking for 2.5 hours. You know, and it wasn't so much about photography either. We were and just the culture, just relating more from a brother to brother type of thing. I think sometimes it's important to do that and set aside all of these differences that we have of what we think separates us from someone else, because we're all the same, man. There's no difference between us. You know, we really are, because believe me, you can take a little razor, do a little cut. I guarantee you're going to bleed red. Right? It bleeds red. Doesn't matter what's on the outside. Trust me.
Hey, Chuck, I have a problem right now. Okay, I just saw a problem emerge on your screen, Chuck. Go back to what Mazman said. Okay.
Yes.
Go back to what Mazman said about
so
him.
I was thinking that. Hey, I was thinking that
he's eating lunch at Houston's,
I have a problem.
I think Amar dropped the dime.
You do. Houston's, you have a problem.
Amar dropped the dime, and Mazman said, "Oh, what the heck? I'll go ahead and
look, Lim. You tell Bahad.
Sorry,
for y'all to be at Houston's, one of the great restaurants in Southern California, tearing it up right now, eating like that. That is so mean, Mazman. That is so mean.
In Vahagan's defense, and you guys can attest to it that are in here right now, on my invitation, when I send the email out, I always say, if you have something else to do or something you want to do, don't show up. And I do mean that, because we all have lives and, that kind of stuff, except for Jeffrey. He has to be here.
Well, I have no life, so that's why I'm here.
No, I was just highlighting that the Houston's restaurant is fantastic. Mazman and them are probably used to it. It's probably like a regular, sizzler to them. But Houston's restaurant is a wonderful restaurant to go to when you're in the Southern California area. You in DC?
I'm in DC, yeah.
There's a restaurant that has that rice, that really good rice. Peri Peri Chicken in DC.
Oh, sure.
What's the name of that restaurant?
Yeah, it's called Peri Peri DC. Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, that stuff. That's so cold blooded. They would tell us that, Chuck. That's not right.
It is, because now I'm hungry. Now I want to eat. I didn't eat lunch today because I didn't have time between my haircut. Nobody mentioned that. Thank you.
Oh, that's got a lot of digital noise in that. You need to
you got to have them raise the deck on that lawnmower about a half inch.
Hey, thanks, Hassan. Man, good to see you in here too. Appreciate you always coming by.
More.
Hey, I want to comment to Gustavo's message a while back. He said Franz Lanting is on the same league as Art Wolf as a nature photographer, and absolutely agree. And Gustavo, I think we like the same folks, because he is equal on my list with Art Wolf, and I have bought books from both of them, and they were both National Geographic photographers, which is something they share in common. And sometimes they do expeditions together once in a great while, and I'm like, man, if I had the dough, I would go on a trip with those guys anywhere in the world, and I would be like, I don't even know if I'd take a picture. I'd be too numb watching them take pictures. They're just phenomenal.
I just be privileged to carry their bags, man. I just be privileged to carry their bags.
Ron, you got $8,000, Ron.
Hey.
Do you have $8,000, Ron? You do?
Yeah. What about it?
Give me the $8,000, and we'll call it even for the Z1 in 2024. We'll go invest it and make that into $64,000 in 2 years.
Oh my goodness! Okay,
Frames.
Pyramids,
Don't come in here and drop a comment like that and not be willing to talk more about it.
I don't know if I'm going to be alive in 2024. Why would I worry about a Z1? I haven't even seen a Z8 yet.
Didn't we just talk about all this?
Z5 this year. What's up with that?
What would a Z1 even be?
Don't know. But I'm sure we can get Simon to cook up some rumors for us.
All right, now don't beat up my boy Simon. I like the fact that he's keeping the Z8 alive since I can't do it over here.
Can I do
anymore.
some rumor
Not
videos for
anymore.
the Z1? Really? Can I start doing those?
Yeah, do it, man. You need to come up with a whole video on the Z1, what it is, what it's going to be.
What it's going to be. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Chuck's going to dance for you for free when you buy one of those. It pops out of there. Chuck pops out of there.
Chuck's going to do a Z30 giveaway.
Chuck's live stream directly.
Yeah. I'm going to do a Z30 giveaway. I'm waiting for
Z30 giveaway on Chuck's channel. I think we got to do that.
Okay, I'm listening now. when is that happening, Chuck?
As soon as B&H comes through on my request.
Can you ask him for a Z5 while you at it?
Sure, why not? I'm as likely to get that as the Z1.
4 frames a second is
Z30.
enough for me. Because I truly believe if I can't get it in the 4, I'm not going to get it in the next 26. So,
not me, man. I need more frames per second. I want 200.
You're going to the need section, Chuck. You need the wants. You need to stick to the want section.
Well, when I say need, it's always want, because you all know I don't need anything. I want 300 frames per second. Then I can shoot real slow-mo.
We're at 195.
Oh man, Chuck,
That's the
Chuck is
rumor.
like
He's
this,
going to
man.
have 300 frames per second.
Amar, Chuck is like, life is way too short for me to be needing everything. I need some want. I want some wants met in this
I
life.
think he was really deprived when he was actually younger, and so now everything is a want. It's no longer a need, right, Chuck?
That's absolutely true. As a matter of fact,
I feel like that all the time, even today.
I'm still buying toys I wanted as an 8-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
You want the camera that has artificial intelligence, so you can program it to pre-screen your pictures for you and automatically throw away the ones that you have defined that you wouldn't like ahead of time. So you're going to die.
If Long Rider's on, he knows this story, but you're going to die when I tell you this. So, when Sony made that PlayStation, so they made a version of the PlayStation and a Spider-Man on it, right? And I loved it because it looked so cool. My son is like, oh my God.
Right.
I'm like, Spider-Man. So I made him buy a Spider-Man freaking PlayStation because I wanted it, right? So now I use my son to. It actually works pretty good. I get away with it.
Frames, enough with this. Come on the show and defend yourself.
I think Frames is testing the Z8.
He probably is.
Okay, that's a new rumor. I'm going to start it.
And just remember this. Nikon India was the first to make a gaff and show us information about the Z9.
Yes, it was. Yep.
That's because we just hack into computers.
So now we know who at Nikon India did it. Frames, you've been lying to us all along. You work there.
He's a plant. Start a new rumor. Frames is a plant.
What does he mean? What does he mean by Nikon is following Sony?
He won't come on here and defend himself.
Nikon follows Nikon.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means.
Have you gotten the title?
Nikon does their own thing, whether you agree with them or not. They do their own thing.
Glow in the dark. Who wrote that last, man?
Oh, I like this. This is good. No, it's not enough though, Frames. Not buying it, man. You did, but
So he talking smack now, Chuck. He talking smack now.
Why?
Oh, my buddy Frames. He's Frames.
Back home,
You
Chuck,
got to
we
bust. You know what, Frames? You could sell this information to Peter right now at Nikon Rumors. He's starving for something.
He'll just tell you got bad sources, Frames. So your sources aren't any good.
We say Frames is selling wolf tickets back home in New Orleans. We like, oh, he's selling wolf tickets now. Okay, he's talking big talk now.
There's our age showing again. Wolf tickets. Most people have no idea what that means.
They don't. No, they don't.
And it's not WOLF. It's WUF. Wolf tickets.
It's WUF wolf tickets. Exactly. Hey, this part of the History Channel.
Oh man, and you know what? For real, if that's what you're talking
People
about,
lose
then
jobs. They already lost them, man. The moment you said R1 is coming, I mean, or
well,
Z1 is coming.
they're on a witch hunt right now to find out who.
I think they might have to raid Frames' house to figure out what else he's got in the house.
All I need is something tangible so I can go to my camera store and say, "Hey, put me on the list," which they won't do until they find something definitive. Frames, can I just tell them?
Funny, man.
So I can actually open up a Nikon Z1 fund, and you guys can put all your money in there, and I can hold it till 2024 for you.
2024. That might be. You could probably keep it longer than that.
Look at Frames. Look at Frames.
What's wrong with that?
Look at
That's
Frames.
great. I get to keep your money. It's safe, and you guys are happy that you gave it to me. I mean, it's a win-win.
There you go.
And then Nikon's going to send the thing. Due to the overwhelming number of orders, you ain't going to get your camera no more.
Well, I'm waiting for someone to say we ran out of sand to make glass.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sort of.
We have a supply shortage of sand right now. Therefore, there's no lenses for the next 5 years.
And that memo is going to come from Nikon Dubai.
Yeah.
There's no sand.
No sand. No sand for you. No sand for you.
Wrong kind of sand.
Yeah, wrong kind of
Hey,
sand.
Frames. Hey, Frames. Hey, Frames. Have you yet? RRR Frames. Have you watched it yet?
Oh, I'm sure he's watched it. It's a good movie.
Oh, you
I
like
haven't seen it or heard about it. Is it on normal TV? That may be why I haven't seen it or heard it. Well, there you go. My wife does the Netflix thing. I don't. I only have a couple of channels I even watch on TV anymore. For one, you guys don't give me a chance to watch TV anymore.
He said crazy on Netflix. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm getting ready to wrap it up. I gotta go talk to Mama and find out what I'm cooking for supper.
Sounds good.
That was me doing our anniversary check. That was me doing our anniversary check.
Yeah. Or going out to pick up. I don't know yet. But yeah, I am going to cut it off here in just a minute. Oh, watch you. Here come all the crazy questions to keep me in here.
I'm going to head out, Chuck. So you have a beautiful evening.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Amar.
Absolutely, man. It was fun. Good laughs.
Good finally being on with you, Amar. At the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll shoot over my number to you, so you have it.
Yes, your email too, man.
I'll do that.
Send me your website. Send me your website.
Yeah, I'll do that. It's the same. It's a 247mediagroup.LLC.com.
Oh,
it's right there on the bottom.
Okay. 247.
What's the new? What's Ronald Pollard's channel? What's the name of Ronald Pollard's channel?
Photography with Ronald K. When I get ready, September the 8th. Chuck, we're coming.
September the 8th, down to the day. Cool.
Down to the day.
September the 8th. Word, man.
I can see you being the next Jerry Guillonis, man. I see it happening.
Yep.
Hey, I claim it, brother. I claim it, man. I claim it. Jerry will be the first Ronald Pollard.
Yeah. Nice. I like that. Awesome. Oh, you guys stay blessed.
Thank you guys soon. Thank you.
See you, Mark. Have a good one.
Let me thank everybody on the panel in here still. Mr. Dave Moots Photography, Mr. Jeffrey Neville from Selective Imagery, his channel, and Ronald Pollard. And I already forgot the name of your channel that's coming September 8th. Sounds like something we need to keep tabs on.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're trying to do some things with it. We're not going to be long, Chuck. I don't have your gifts, man. I don't have your strength, but it's going to be about maybe an hour.
The secret to that is taking breaks to go get coffee.
And his wife sneaking in donuts and pastries and stuff once in a while.
And Jeffrey, and making her famous chocolate spaghetti.
Chocolate spaghetti.
Yes, sir. Y'all, I know it sounds crazy, but when you taste it, you'll lose your mind. All right, guys.
It
was a good show.
And thank you guys so much. All right. Love and respect, peace and happiness, brothers.
Take care, Ron.
Take care, Ron. It's good seeing you.
Ron, again, appreciate it. Hey, folks, everybody that's still in there, please go check out all the channels of these guys that come on here. They're fantastic channels, and that's one of the things that I also want to do. And Vahagan's he started it, and I'm fully behind what he's trying to do. And that's make sure we get exposure to all the people out here that are just struggling, in the YouTube community. And when I say struggling, it just means that it's a tough fight in the YouTube community. So share their sites with others, and let's expand the community. And again, if you're not a subscriber here already, I'd just like to, invite you to become a subscriber and jump in here and chat with us from time to time. Anybody that would like to be on the panel for any of the live streams, shoot me an email. And I've had the email plastered up here. It's not hard to find on my YouTube page. Shoot me an email if you want to be in here, and we'll put you in the mix. That said, I don't have anything else to say, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr. David to talk about his channel real quick. Plug yourself, buddy.
Hey, I appreciate being in here again. It's always fun and enjoy the conversations. Excuse me. Yeah, you can check me out on YouTube at D Moots Photography, all one word there. And, it's just a new channel. I know I'm not going to get rich doing anything on here, but it's just a lot of fun to put out some videos every once in a while and see what kind of comments I get back.
Yep. And boy, you just never know. It's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Jeffrey Neville, Selective Imagery. Tell us.
Well, first off, Dave, I would argue everybody would love your channel and they should go to it because your work is fantastic, number one.
Thank you.
And if you go to Selective Imagery, you can see the opposite, but I am different. And I have some strange videos because of my sense of humor is a bit off key for some. But I do love birding and nature in general and all sorts of photography. And going to be looking to do some street photography again soon because they're working on the road at the state park that I go to. So the birds are going to be a little bit in disarray with all the heavy equipment working in the area. So I'm going to have to switch genres or something, I think, shortly. But I will have a pretty good video. I liked it that I'm putting out on probably for Friday morning. I'm going to have some clips where I'm using that new video model pod that I talked about a few videos ago, and it worked fantastic. I absolutely love it. Makes such a huge difference. It's very easy to carry around, and I probably my friend's going to buy one, and somebody else today met me and was eyeballing it and taking pictures of it. He's going to buy one. I should be getting commission from the company for crying out loud. But it's a game changer for me anyway, and everybody has their own thing. So I'm not going to push it on anybody. But if you want to see how good the videos came out, then you watch the video that comes out on Friday. I think you'll like it.
All right, man. All right.
Awesome.
And I also want to mention Vahagan. I can't imagine anybody here that doesn't know Vahagan, but definitely get over to Vahography on YouTube and check out his videos. He's been dropping quite a few things that are very entertaining. I think you'll like it. His content is fantastic. And Steve Land Photography. Steve Land has been in the chat. He's editing a video right now talking about our last subject, which was not the only time we're going to talk about lighting, but our first attempt at talking about lighting. Check him out, Steve Land Photography on YouTube. Amar 247 Media Group LLC on YouTube. Check him out for a lot of his content, a lot of instructional content. And I also want to throw out Z Wade Photo, my buddy Zach over there. He's constantly dropping content. So I think I've caught everybody. And Frames TM, make sure you check out Frames TM. That's where all the rumors are coming from, folks.
Yeah.
Check out Frames. He's got a great channel too. I love watching his content. All right. That said,
Jeff and Leslie.
Jeff and Leslie, I am so sorry. And Greg Wilson, Nature Photography. Yep. Man, I'm going to have to get me a board, like I said, and put up here all the people. And I want to recognize all these people. So go by and check out their channels, drop a like, maybe even consider subscribing, because that's what we do. Smaller channels, we got to lift each other up because the big channels are always pushing us down. All right. Just lastly, a reminder that the first Saturday of each month will be our photo review. And if you want to participate, you're more than welcome to. Don't care what camera you use. Well, I don't even care if you use a cell phone, whatever. If you got a photo you want to highlight and show the folks out here, definitely package it up and send it to me. It's at chuckomail@yahoo.com. I'll throw this up real quick for just a second. chuckomail@yahoo.com. And I just ask that you only send one, if you will, because we just run out of time so quick reviewing the photos. It's not a critique in the sense that we're going to bash or whatever. It's just an opportunity for you to show what kind of work you're doing or what your latest photo is or something you're proud of. Even if it was taken 5 years ago, I don't care. Black and white, color, doesn't matter. Just if you want to join us, by all means, submit a photo. That's on the 3rd of September for coming up. That'll be our first Saturday in September. And then after that, it'll be the first Saturday in any given month. We'll do a photo review. We had a lot of fun last time. I'm sure we will this time. That's all I have, folks. And again, I appreciate everybody for jumping in today on the panel. Hats off to you guys. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, David. And for Amar being in here, shoot. Just everybody that drops in and chats with us. All right, folks, that's a wrap. And I'll see you guys again Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And who knows what we're going to talk about on Saturday night. We'll see what happens for the rest of the week. God bless you all. I hope you have a great rest of the week. And that's it.
Take care.